clarify that, to be honest.
Well,
Maybe
I
Art
think
of
it
the
was
Troll
mixed
can
up.
tell us.
We will see about that later. And because sending 10k per average is quite a bit, but then we had
Yeah.
weird fraction numbers. Well, we will see.
Okay. So, map 1, Serengeti. Map 2, Sahara. Map 3, Rift Island again. We're going to get to see Rift Island. Awesome stuff. And if you guys are ready, we can jump into Serengeti. You can talk about the maps and everything once we get into the game. The question to Art of the Troll was, is the resources slung combined or average? But anyway, he can answer that for the chat, and we can go into our next game right here.
Awesome stuff with the stats and all the maps and stuff, nice graphics, but we're all here for some Age of Empires, so without further ado, let us start the game already, as you say, and jump into game number 1 here on Serengeti. We have spawning for Team Suomi, Veles in the gray as the Ethiopians on the right flank. We have the Max in his preferred position, the pocket, as the Indians and his cyan. And on the left flank will be Zupi as the blue Malians. Their opponents, looking to make a name for themselves in ECL, got MBL Red Mongols on the left flank. Pocket going to be Hart as the purple Franks. And finally, the right flank will be Leary as the yellow Ethiopians. Nilly, tell me, what do you think?
Aye. So, basically, you know that a lot of people are, from the top players, are thinking about how can we balance this game more. And one of the biggest concerns at the moment, the thing that feels most unbalanced, is the Indian pocket against the cavalry civ like the Franks. This will be a very tough task here for Hart. How he will try to approach it, because if we get into Castle Age or early Imperial Age, and we will see those strong camels, maybe even Imperial camels, well, Franks, they kind of need to get creative, need to go for a lot of halberdiers, then you lose mobility. I think the Max, being the pocketeer, should dominate this game.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, the Max, as a player, he's certainly well known in the community for liking to play these big, booming cavalry civs, so Indians, perfect fit for him. And as you were saying, their Imperial camels can make the Franks quite sad. I think that if we're dealing with these two civs on the flank, I actually don't even mind the Franks there because they can do a really strong, pikeman, monk siege push with cheap castles. But, I mean, in the pocket, that's not really as viable since you're so far away. You need that mobile unit, so you're kind of wanting to already be forced to go into cavalry, but don't want to go into the Indian camels. It's just kind of awkward.
Awkward indeed. You can kind of do it if both of your flanks are going for mass archer units, maybe even CA for the Mongols here could be an option, but you need something to really force those camels to fight against non-knight civilizations. I'm expecting a very aggressive game from our 2 AM flanks here.
Yeah, certainly. Mongols, with the hunt bonus, you can get up to the feudal age super quickly. Serengeti, just such an open map. You have tons of huntable animals of the savannah, and Ethiopians as well for Leary. Definitely two civs that can get right up in your face, and two players who are definitely not ones to shy away from aggression.
Absolutely not. Leary is so aggressive, and he is just a master of controlling those archer masses. And we saw how good his KD was. He can really use them. Obviously, it's a big benefit. If you're always in the back, your teammates have to fight with the knights, with the camels in front, and you can do the damage from behind. Your KD gets better, but also his micro is just exceptional.
Oh yeah, Leary, I mean, if there's anything you think about with Leary, it's his archer control, and it's really a beauty to watch. So definitely have to keep an eye out for that this game. But with both teams opting for the Ethiopians, what do you think of the Mongols pick from MBL? Because it's not in the Civ pool, so AM has to believe that there's some sort of particular reason they want to be playing this Civ.
And the reason is we are starting this map with only one elephant. So the lame here is just so much more powerful. Just compare it. If you get lamed with losing one boar, but still have one, can push some deer, that's somewhat fine. But losing 100% of all your boars/elephants is just so more efficient, and laming is just easier when you have that Mongol scouting bonus. So I love that choice.
Yeah, certainly. And Mongols, civilization that even if you don't get the lame off, which MBL did not, still have plenty of ostrich and zebra, still get a very quick feudal age, as MBL will be our first player to click up, though hot on his heels. Franks also can go for a very quick age up. You do have the faster working foragers, and I predict many a scout cavalry in the near future.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The pockets have to go for it, and the flanks, well, we will see. Felice, he is for now sending some villages on gold, so that will be archers for sure. We can see archers from Zupi, left hand side. I here's gold mining as well. MBL going for those archers. The only question is Mr. Leary. He can delay it a bit though. We'll get 100 extra gold reaching feudal age, but now sending them on gold. Nothing too surprising here from Leary as well.
Yep, definitely pretty standard openings from everybody. As I think Zach mentioned earlier, I think these are two teams that definitely are on the more, I guess, standard quote unquote style of play, especially compared to the previous teams like VNA or Frantic, which can do some a lot more out of the box strategies, let's say.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised just to see standard archer crossbowman play from all the flanks, and then standard cavalry play from the pockets.
Yeah, breaking the meta there for sure. If Raz was here, he could be happy with all those series that always the Frantic and VNS players are providing. But this looks pretty standard meta here. Double archer range from all flank players. Super standard game. And this is tricky. How do you really get an edge here if everyone's playing the same?
Well, a lot of it comes down to unit control and teamwork, I think, in terms of being able to take the best engagements possible. And I think that's probably going to be one of the most important deciding factors. I mean, at this level of play, everyone's going to be about the same in terms of, just executing build orders and macros. So it's all going to come down to which teams can communicate better and use that to take the best engagements possible.
I couldn't agree more. It's so tricky. Take the good engagements. Don't really get doubled if you're out of position. Try to communicate with your teammates. Wall your spots. Make sure to be safe. There's so much to think about. So much that you can slip up. Let's see. At the moment, still not a single kill in this game.
Yep, everyone opting for the more pacifist opening so far. No real men-at-arm play or drushing or anything like that, which we saw a lot in the earlier series today. So definitely gonna have to wait, I think, until the pockets come in with their scouts to support some archers. Maybe gonna see the first kill over here to the north center of the map.
Oh yeah, first scout lost there by the max, and that was one of his produced ones, so it should be full HP lost there. Not too nice for him. At the same time, he was trying to make sure that he's completely walled. Obviously, this is a map where we could see some tricky holes. It is easy to wall, but it's tricky to wall very good here.
I mean, not if you're CL. CL has the easiest kills ever on this map. But if you're us mere mortals, I'm afraid that, yeah, it's just so open. The acacia forests have a ton of holes in them, but it looks like we have a big fight happening at the front of Valessa's base. Who do you think is going to take this, Nilly?
Well, Leary already has fletching, and that's a big deal breaker. And then remember, the scouts for now have more HP for the Franks players, so nice advantages here on either damage output or the HP for the AM side. But now fletching also for Felice, and he's just camping the south wall himself quite nicely here at the right hand side, and it will be tough to break him. And you see AM, they are still somewhat aggressive, but they cannot do the real damage.
Yeah, certainly. And as much as we talk about Franks struggling to deal with the Indians since we hit the Castle Age, right now, before Bloodlines comes in the Feudal Age, the Frank Scouts are going to have that 9 extra HP, so that's going to help a lot in these early engagements. But it seems like both teams feeling a bit too cautious to want to take that fight there, both deciding to disengage.
And you see, that's the beauty. Hart and Leary had the aggression, and now they decide, okay, Hart come over to the other side, and that will be a nice double. MBL and Hart will play against Soapy. This will be tricky for him. He at the moment still has the hill, is getting the +1 defense, but that is a double, and the max is out of position. This will be super tough for our player in the blue trunks.
Oh yeah, certainly. He has the high ground, which is going to help a ton versus MBL's army, but this is just not something you can take 1v2, especially if he gets caught out in the open. He is trying to retreat to his town, but, well, the gate's open right now. That's not going to be so nice. Whoa! Just slamming the door right in Hart's face right there.
Yeah, that was pretty lucky for him. But still, aggression against him. Let's take a look. The Max and Villiers, they know Leary will play this very defensively. Let's go for the pocket, and at the moment, Hart could be hit quite nicely. Oh, this is a pretty intense one. Let's see how Zupi can defend this one.
Yeah, this is a pretty tricky defense here for Zupi. As you say, if the armies of AM rotate to the north, his Zupi's woodline is very exposed right now. And it looks like could see attempted run by on the other side with Max and Valessa, but I think Quickwall will be in time for Hart. So I think most of the action is still going to be happening over here, but Hart, feeling the pressure at home, is going to at least want to disengage for the time being.
And weirdly enough, he's re-walling with the market, although he already has one. I think, well, maybe just wants to get maximum distance there. Obviously, market a nice big building. Get some range there, but still loses a villager. Leary coming over, trying to defend his teammate.
Nilly, you just don't understand the strats. You gotta, research caravan, coinage all at the same time. Gotta make sure you have the double market play for that. But no, Hart going to be deleting that. Leary coming in to help out his teammate. And we see both teams very cautious in actually taking these engagements. No team really wanting to commit so far.
Oh, but now that might change. Leary has the hill. We see the Max now with Bloodlines, so HP advantage on the side of the Finns. He's getting the +1 in as well. This has to be the time where they need to engage.
Oh yeah, certainly. The scout numbers do favor the Max at this point, but the archer numbers are just so in favor of Leary. I think this is just going to be a pretty good fight here for AM. You see the Finns trying to back up as much as possible, but here comes MBL from the back. We might have a little bit of a Finnish sandwich.
Oh, and I was surprised that they didn't take this engagement beforehand. The Max is now running away. Vilis lost every single of his archers. Now trying to X, and now Zupi is going forward. This will get tricky if Leary is going to the left-hand side, which he is not. This could have been another team fight against only 2 players. Rightfully, Zupi is retreating.
Yep, we see the Max trying to perhaps run by towards MBL's base, but he is walled to his TC. Don't think that the Max is going to want to commit. He is our first player up to the Castle Age, is actually getting the Light Cav upgrade because he still has plenty of scouts alive. But I think other than Valessa losing quite a few units, we should be transitioning into a more stable Castle Age.
Well, his scouts hard? Oh, no, it was the Max getting Light Cav. Yeah, that makes so much more sense. I was confused for a small second. Yeah. And I like that upgrade. It just puts so much more fear in the head of your opponents. And yeah, he's just super active, forces MBL to not move out. He still has some army to attack though. And at the moment, Zupi out on the map. This will get tricky. If he breaks that palisade gate, which he will, he forces a lot of idle villagers.
Yeah, certainly not a whole lot here to defend for Zupi. He's running back home with his archers, but you can't engage crossbows with feudal age archers. He's going to have to invest in a couple of defensive watchtowers. That will cover most of his economy, but at a minimum, it's causing a lot of idle time for our blue player, though perhaps maybe MBL is going to be in too deep. He could be caught out of position. He's going to be busting out of the palisade wall to the north.
Beautiful stuff, and you were so right. This could have been an evil trap, and we see the Max is coming over as well. MBL is getting some help from Hart, and it feels like he could get out without being trapped. And now the question is Leary coming over? Yes, he is. Perfect team play here by AM. All 3 players together. Now they're trying to punish the Indian.
Yeah, and of course, Indian camels, while they are incredible against the Frank Knights, are going to be comparatively quite bad versus all of those crossbows of Leary, and his army right now is massive. And yeah, it's going to be looking pretty terrifying. Everything kind of converging at the base of our player in Cyan.
Let's see how he can do this. tricky to maybe lose the stables. They're pretty exposed. Leary might get a kill there against the gold villagers. Gets 3 kills. The Max not reacting. 4 villagers down without really doing too much. He is at 49 villagers, slightly leading. We have Zupi coming over. Where is Release? And this will be an enormous fight. All 6 players around.
Everyone's armies are here. We do see the slight high ground advantage in favor of Zupi. And also, I just think the sheer numbers of cavalry is just vastly in favor of the Max over Hart. And I think this is likely going to be a pretty good fight for Team Finland here.
It's a weird engagement by Belize. He kind of patrolled in there, trying to chase down, and it feels like Leary is doing quite an okay job. Obviously, they have the lower numbers, but they are forcing all the army to go back. Wasn't really the big fight that I expected, and now Leary and MBL, while running, are losing quite a lot of crossbows.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, both MBL and especially Leary just microing as best they can, trying to eke out as much value from all of their units, but I feel like, again, just so many more camels than knights here. But maybe this is the big fight we've all been waiting for. The players kind of dancing back and forth.
Feels like they're stalling time. Sorry for interrupting you there, because the left-hand side, MBL is now coming over with the second group. They pulled all the armies from the Finnish guys away and more towards the center. A lot of crossbows even dying of Elise. And now they attack at the left-hand side on Zupi. Well, he still has some crossbows at home and building a weird TC there on that hill.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, to say the least, but looks like maybe a lot of the camels of the Max have actually gone down. It's lost almost all of his camels he had over towards the base of Valessa. And yeah, MBL just kind of everywhere with his crossbows.
Yeah, they are doing quite a lot of good job. This could have been a fight where they lost so much more board some time, and they kept those camel numbers down. And we said earlier, those camel numbers are so important. And at the same time, look at the TC at the front of Belize. Oh, yo, that's painful.
Oh boy, that's a TC that just isn't. And it's going to be pretty tricky here for our Gray player to really, I think, catch up in terms of economy. He's already fallen very far behind in the villager count, a good 10 to 20 villagers behind all the players on the other team. Something has to, I think, come here from Team Finland to catch up.
Oh, that's a tricky spot, and that was his first extra TC as well. At least he will have troubles. He will be behind heavily, I think. Omi, they need to take some aggression. They need to force Leary in some fights so that he does not boom away. In the meanwhile, not much going on. It's again this fight with all the armies clashing.
Another potential for a big fight over here. Again, Leary just really fantastic micro from our yellow player. Pretty much a 2-to-1 KD right now. Just great control from our young Austrian player. Not on the 3 TCs just yet, only on the 2 as far as I can tell. But, okay, yeah, third one TC coming up for him. Less focused on getting a huge economy right away, but still just great army control here from Leary.
65 villagers, he didn't lose a lot. That's why he is so ahead in numbers. And look at that. They are not willing to engage against Leary. They are going to the left-hand side. They want to do some damage against MBL. They know he is probably not getting a lot of help. And at the same time, Zubi did build some mangonels to counter the crossbow masses. So once they get the army control, they can tear down those TCs here as well.
Yeah, of course. Serengeti, such an open map. All of your extra TCs are going to be very exposed. Definitely, we can see the front of MBL's base here. TC totally out in the open, even has actually a bit of a bugged stone, but not probably going to be too big of a deal in the short run. And I think it's all going to be about this hill at the front of MBL's base. If either team can control it, they'll probably be in a really good position to take the fight. Mangonel coming in.
Oh yeah, Mangonel dance, obviously pretty important in those situations, but not a lot of protection against the camels. And that's a big mass of camels because the Max is raiding there at the front, putting, well, some damage against the Mangonel. At the same time, he's raiding the back base of Hart, who has to retreat and cannot really help. And the Max is also on the way to Imperial Age. This guy is just crazy.
Yeah, the Max just such fantastic macro management in terms of getting his economy out and running. Of course, Indians with the cheaper villagers, you end up saving quite a lot of food over the course of the Castle Age and getting your economy rolling. It can lead to a pretty fast Imperial Age. Camels, also cheaper than knights, helps in that regard as well. But Nilly, there's a castle, and it's coming right in the face of NBL.
Oh yeah, and that's, well, actually attacking all the stone of MBL there as well. It looks like there was one backed stone even. The other one is at the front. Hard is coming over with a lot of his knights, but those knights, well, camel numbers are increasing. They really lose in value.
Yeah, it's kind of a tale of two sides of the map right now because Valessa is kind of struggling on his side over in the east versus Leary, but MBL is under so much pressure right now. Hart trying to come in and bailing out his teammate. Maybe the crossbows of Zupi a little too split up right now. He kind of has his army in two sections, but Knights coming in, Camels trying to come into support from the Max.
Yeah, nice support in time. They lost, I believe, like 3 crossbows. That's kind of okay. Big problems though. Yeah, left-hand side, that looks nice for the Finns. But right-hand side, Leary will soon have Arbalests, and that is some damage output here.
Not only is it some damage output, but it's some good damage output. And there is not really a whole lot here I think that Les can do to engage this army of Leary. I mean, he doesn't even have any mangonels here to deal with one battering ram. He just has to rely on all of those crossbowmen. Going to be trying to throw down a defensive castle here, but oh man, a lot of those villagers seem possibly caught out in the open. And this is just a really rough position for our Grey player, though simultaneously also pretty rough here for MBL.
Yeah, and this will be interesting. Both sides kind of advancing. Now we see another raid through the center. Heavy camel upgrade is coming in. Shouldn't really fight before that finishes. Here is the Max. He's already taking quite a bit of center control as well. Taking a lot of that gold in the center. Absolutely love that play. This will get super interesting. Leary killing Belize or Zupi killing MBL? What is going faster?
Well, MBL is losing his starting TC, like, now. Whereas, well, Valessa, he's okay. I wouldn't say he's in a good spot, but he's not, like, dying right now, which I think is a pretty big deal because it's super important if you're losing your side as the flank in a team game to just die as slowly as possible, because then potentially you can buy enough time for the rest of your teammates to push the other side, and that is exactly what we're seeing here for Team Finland.
Yeah, and that's why great team communication as well. The Max did even sling some resources to Belize so that he can build that defensive castle, can build himself some more time. And now look at that tag at the top right-hand side corner for the Max.
Oh, it's the big imp camel on the way for our Cyan player. Leary, though, with a few arbalests running around, actually has a large mass in the base of the Max. And I don't know, Millie, how do you feel Imperial Camels fare versus the Ethiopian Arbalests? Is that kind of seems to be the big clash that we're going to be seeing here as this game progresses?
I'd say it's fairly even, small advantage probably for the Imp Camels because they have just so much defense. The big thing though is the Max can decide when he wants to fight. Leary has to be open, he kind of has to stay staggered, can run around. Yeah, he's getting a lot of kills, but the Max can just go back and then decide, okay, now is the time to fight, now is the time to clear up right-hand side. Now we see even the Paladin push though.
Yep, Paladin's going to be incoming here from Hart. He really hasn't taken a ton of damage so far, and here there is going to be a little bit of a problem, I feel, for Zupi, in that his Arbalests lack Bracer, and that is just such a crucial tech if you're fighting the Arbalests of MBL. He does have Onagers, they do not get Siege Engineers, so it's all going to come down to, can those Onagers get enough hits to really flatten the crossbows of MBL?
We'll see. In Camels now fighting off against those captains here. MBL, he's now moving forward. Onagers, can they get the hits? We see the trap, 20 HP is getting repaired. Zupi not really willing to engage here. Nice moves by MBL, buying himself a lot of time, although we felt he should be the dead guy.
Yeah, I mean, like we were saying, eventually Valessa is going to die, especially with Hart joining the party with his Cavalier, soon to be Paladin. And now I think it's a matter of how much damage is Leary doing in the back of the Max's base. He's still at 120 villagers, but that count could be plummeting quite quickly.
And beautiful team play there. You see Onagers being sent by Zupi. Velise is sending his Arbalest, and that is just showing how well they're playing together. Onagers shot could now clear all this up. Beautiful, beautiful team play here. And they are somewhat stabilizing. At the same time, left-hand side is pushing for him.
Yeah, very even game right now. Slight score lead to AM currently, but yeah, this is a very close game and probably one of the longer games we've ever seen on Serengeti. Castle going to be going down very soon though for Valesa, and once that goes down, how does he stabilize? How does he prevent the steamroll from coming in?
It will just get tricky. He has to rely on a lot of help from the Imp Camels. But Imp Camels at the moment, they are just not really in the numbers. Look at that, 24 military from the max. I would have expected more, like, reasonable numbers, more in the 50s, 60s even.
Yeah, it's not for lack of stables. He has around 6 or so, but maybe just really lacking the resources to, produce enough camels, especially with his economy being rated so heavily by Larry. But looks like Zupi will be making a transition out of the Arbalests into the cavalry units, Malians with pretty solid cavalry. And I think that should be, a much more straightforward, easy transition than, say, MBL getting into Mangudai. That seems like a little bit of a pipe dream at this point.
Yeah, absolutely, because his stone is completely blocked as well. So he needs to buy everything. That's absolutely no option for him. He has to stay on Arbalest. He has one castle, that's good for him. Tries to get some traps out, but Mangudai, it's just super far away.
Yeah, certainly. It's just one of the things I was a little nervous about with the Mongols pick is that it's going to be pretty hard to actually get to a good post-imp army. Looks like a bit of a fight happening over this hill in front of Heart's base with a very forward castle here from the max, but he's still deciding that he needs to retreat right here. Just not enough army for him, as we were saying.
Yeah. And what is he lacking? He has enough resources, not really getting them on the map super well at the moment. I'm a bit shocked. Stable's not really working at the moment. He has 2k, 1k basically, and only pop 170. His Macronauts, what I would love to see, probably. What can I say?
I think the reason that his army is underwhelming is because I think he's slinging potentially his teammate, especially probably Valesa, just to help him get back into the game. But I mean, there's a cost to that, and the sort of consequences as the army isn't super overwhelming, but it looks like Leary is caught a little bit out of position. Hart trying to come in to support his teammate. We've got a big fight happening over here at Bless's base. Leary also having quite a few halberdiers there, and looks like everyone's going to be chasing down Finland right now.
But is that the right decision? Don't you want to have, like, even the Indians being slung? I want to see those 80, 90 Imperial camels just running all around the map and now getting Velise back on his feet. Yeah, Arbalests are absolutely necessary to fight off the halberdiers here of Leary, but they can fall back, can regroup. Yeah, Velise is losing a lot of ground, but I want to see basically the Imperial camels dominate the game.
Yeah, certainly. Also, ton of onagers being picked off from Hart, and he's just in an amazing position. Just really hasn't been taking a ton of damage this game. He's been getting able to get up to those Frank Paladins. 27 trade cards right now for our purple player. We are getting to the point in the game where trade is going to start being crucial, and Leary only has 2. So it's going to be a little while for him to get his trade up and running. And I mean, Veles, no trade, and still under 10 for Zupi.
Well, Leary is still getting some gold at the front, but yeah, 2 trade cards, that's less than I expected as well. He is keeping the production up, has 3 markets, so that should be rolling, but I would have preferred more. Right-hand side is getting super dicey though. Let's take a look. Velise needs to run away. Imperial Camel numbers, they aren't really backed up by the Arbalest numbers as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a matter of, I think, total militaries for each team, and I'm just really liking the sheer numbers of AM right now. It's a lot of halberdiers and not a lot of arbalests to clean them up very quickly. And, especially from the changes a couple patches ago, those halberdiers just shred through the Imperial camels.
Oh, and only now Thumbring as well. So yeah, those halberdiers won't really get killed too quickly. Now trying to micro back, they're doing a fine job. Defensive castle again here. They're trying to hold on. But what happened on the left-hand side? Why isn't Zupi pushing more against MBL? MBL is not getting too much help. Shouldn't he just completely die? It feels like MBL did an enormous job, cleared up all the army at the left-hand side corner. Zupi not as dominant as I would have loved to see.
Yeah, it is kind of surprising, and I would wonder why exactly Zupi hasn't been dominating MBL. I mean, his army is mostly skirmishers and arbalests, not coming in with a ton of camels, but not patrolling them or something, just kind of running right through the meat grinder of ranged units of MBL, maybe trying to go for a raid into the trade line or the base of Heart, but this is going to need to get a lot of damage done because AM is pushing towards the trade line very quickly.
Oh yeah, this is getting tough, and it's less and less units there to defend. There's another TC is going down, and I just remembered, well, Arbalest for Malians obviously aren't the very strongest against Mongols there. That's why I needed to transition away. Didn't want to stay on weak Arbalest with maybe some weak Rams. So now goes heavy cavalry. That maybe took some time, but MBL did a beautiful job and is now back to pop limit.
Yeah, definitely. Most of the AM players are closing in on that 200-200 pop mark, whereas, well, Valesa is at 75 pop right now and 7 military. So how do you really come back from that? You need you need to buy a lot of time if you're Finland, but I'm not sure if AM's going to give them that time, as this trebuchet is working down its castle of Valesa, and that's really the last bastion of defense to protect the trade line of Suomi.
Yeah, it feels like it's getting tougher and tougher. And you said it, like, military count at the moment 8, lost all the archer ranges, not a lot of TCs. There, I hope they're still slinging him, but even then, that castle will fall, archer range, no production at all. I don't see a way to hold this.
Yeah, this feels, somewhat strange to say that Suomi's in such a terrible position. Considering they are leading in the score, but that just goes to show that score is not everything. Repairs coming in for this castle of Valesa by their trade line, but it's looking pretty grim, I think. I don't really see anything that truly counters the army of Leary right now. Maybe a few onagers from Zupi, but they do lack siege engineers. And, we know Leary's micro. He's probably not going to be losing everything to some onagers.
Well, it will be SO pretty soon for a round. He has more siege workshops, so nice team play there for sure. Some halberdiers moving forward. Not a lot of arbalests to counter those. Feels like, yeah, they are somewhat stabilizing, but it's still the very low 80 pop here. And could you explain this score to me? I don't understand it.
So the Max has a super big score because he's probably gathered a ton of resources, and that's how the Max rolls. And Zupi, he's been taking pretty good trades, but it's, I think, a matter of just positioning in the game right now. We even have Mangudai starting to come in here for MBL, and with all of the defenses here, I think for Team AM, I think their trade is just looking a lot more secure in the long term than is Suomi's.
Oh yeah, that's true. Quite a lot of walls still from Heart. Build a lot of castles around here. Leary is more on the open side, but yeah, it feels like that's somewhat protected. But right hand side, they are holding now, and Leary, he could eat some big SO shots, but he's moving back.
Yeah, Malian's actually the only civ in the game that has SO but doesn't have siege engineers, so they're not really able to outrange the Arbalest, which is kind of a bummer. But I mean, still, there's always going to be that potential for the big hit to just flatten half of Leary's army.
I felt that potential. Let's take a look. Not going for some damage against Heart here, but that is a lot of SO still. He can't get all of them. Leary, he could eat a big shot. Oh, my nerves.
Oh man, I can't handle this nilly. Too much potential for dead Arbalest, but looks like most of the siege onagers are starting to fall, but it looks like Leary not feeling comfortable enough to keep pushing. Leary getting forced back really for the first time in quite some time, even having a lot of his trebuchets very exposed.
Big. What are we witnessing? Left-hand side, Mangodais are in the trade though. And, well, some skirmishers pushing in the center. AM still very active all around the map. Leary moving back. He's trying to tag into SO as well. He's losing some traps, but not a lot of answers to that big Mangodai right here at the left-hand side.
Oh, wow. We were saying that, hey, it's going to be almost impossible to get Mangodai up and rolling here this game, but, I mean, this is definitely the longest game of Serengeti I think we've ever seen. Late Mangodai fully upgraded here from MBL, and, I mean, they've always been one of the most terrifying units in the late game, and they have just killed so many trade carts for Suomi. I mean, I guess their trade is still overall looking somewhat healthy, but I just, like you were saying, I just don't see an answer to this. I mean, we see the cavalry coming in here from Zupi, but it feels very late.
Yeah, late. He was doing it quite for some time. But what is he really doing? He's building camels. That's his pocket is building as well. Light cav. Never the unit where you feel like, oh god, we are into the game 61 minutes and he's going for light cav. It's looking good for him. So at the moment, Malians, not really with a big firepower.
And yeah, that's always been, I guess, the criticism for this Civ in team games is their lack of post-imp punch, as their camels are going to be inferior to the Indians, their archers are going to be inferior to the Ethiopians, as is their siege. It's kind of like, where do you sort of make your presence felt if you're Zupi? And your best bet is probably going to be that cavalry, but even then, it's not really compared to like the Mongol Mangudai or Frank Paladins or whatever.
Well, those are some of the strongest units in the game. Obviously, if you mention those, it will get super tricky. Tibetos, I don't really see them working too well. The Champ Carls couldn't really do too much against the Mangodais. It was tricky for him. And Malians, maybe it was an option to go for the Sling, because I still feel that if we see 120 Imp Camels on the map, there's not much AM could have done.
Yeah, I think that's actually a really good point, Nilly. If, say, instead of the max slinging Valesa to, keep him alive, what if Zupi did that? Or, even slung the max so we could get up to, 80, 90 Imp Camels. The Halberdiers are just now coming in from Heart. Leary didn't have a ton at that point in time, so that might have ended up being the decision that costs Finland the game if they do, in fact, lose this one.
Well, it looks like they're absolutely stabilizing at the moment. We said, well, he's pop 86 military. What is going on? This will get so tough to hold. And suddenly he's looking at pop 150 and building quite some eco. Has a nice amount of military. Trade is looking good for them as well. They kind of won the last 5 minutes, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, at least in terms of not dying, but we did see over at the north of the map, Zupi lose somewhere in the ballpark of 8 or 9 SOs to some Paladins of Heart, and Castle once again under a ton of fire from 3 trebuchets of Leary. And like we were saying, once that castle goes down, that trade line is looking mighty open. Leary even coming in with SO.
Oh, this is going to be so tricky. Believes he needs a lot of help, so he cannot fight alone at the moment. Yeah, we said he is on the way to a comeback, but it's more of the supporting comeback. He can't fight even 1v1 against Leary, and yeah, it's completely out of question to do anything if Hart is ever coming over. This game could still go for quite some time, I feel.
Yeah, of course, with both Ethiopian players coming in with Onager upgrades, Leary now with SO, wanting to see that Torsion engines upgrade. He already has Siege Engineers, and we could be seeing a lot of flattened units here potentially to end this game.
Oh, what a lovely upgrade. Let's take a look. Abelesh now eating the first good shot here for sure. But now all the buffer in the front is dying. Let's take a look at the Max. He is going down with his in-camera numbers as well. Left-hand side, Zupi needs to add some more siege workshops and needs to add SO as well. Otherwise, Elise is just completely naked.
Yeah, certainly. We do see over towards the south and center of the map, Zupi with a fairly impressive team wall coming in to protect the trade, but their trade has already taken so much damage, and that wall doesn't exactly protect the north part of the trade, which is really the part that's under a lot of pressure right now, as you see Leary just kind of inexorably moving forward.
Oh yeah, he is. And Torsion Engines. Oh yeah. Vilise, what can he really do? He's taking into SO as well now. That feels like a bit of a double kill, right? 2 players taking for SO. It's such a costly upgrade. I think that could have been better invested. Yeah, it makes it easier to play it if 2 players are going for SO. But I think with those limited amounts of resources they had, I think they should have relied on Zuppi's full army.
I mean, that's the whole problem we were talking about earlier with Malians, right? It's like, what do you have them do? Because, I mean, Ethiopians, they're kind of the late game powerhouse, but Valesa wasn't in the position to actually, get SO, earlier this game. So, kind of have to double up on upgrades. You have the Max trying to come in, trying to make sure that this trade line doesn't fall. But will it be enough here, Nilly?
It seems like they're pushing back. Bad situation though. Left-hand side, MBL found a sweet spot there. That castle didn't have murder holds for quite some time, and he parked under the castle and got so many kills. And again, MBL is so annoying at the moment.
MBL is just so annoying, man. But yeah, just getting so many trade card kills throughout this game. I mean, he's working on 50 himself, Hart on 53, and yes, all of the players in this game are looking at fairly healthy trade card numbers, except for Valesa and I guess Leary to some extent. But in terms of who has safe trade, I don't see a castle protecting the trade line in the markets in the north for Team Finland.
Oh, this will be a GG timing pretty soon, I believe. The castle probably won't even go up. Vilise is trying to rush one out, but that's so many SO moving forward. The Abalest as well. I think they can type it pretty soon. The castle, all the villagers will die. Ay, that looks so brutal. And the trade will surely fall unless the Max is pulling something crazy out of his head.
Well, Imperial Camels are just about the only thing that's in the Max's hat right now. And it's not exactly anything new, and there are plenty of halberdiers to counter the Imp Camels. And I guess it's at this point when I guess the Imp Camels just aren't enough. He just never was able to get to that 80-90 count of Imperial Camels that you really needed. I guess they're cleaning up some of the Arbalest, but I feel like Leary probably should have a few more forward production buildings. His army's very slow, and it takes them quite a while to get back up to the fight, but I still feel like he should be able to keep on pushing this one.
Absolutely feels like it. Yeah, he needs some time to reinforce. Would be so much better to do it. By the way, we have a big raid at the south now for the Maxis going into the trade. A lot of Imp Camels trying to kill some, and they are doing a fine work here.
Yeah, I mean, the Max he's trying to keep his team afloat. It's not exactly easy, but I mean, getting damage done with these Imp Camels is certainly worthwhile, and is probably, one of the things that could potentially get Finland back into this game. A ton of archery ranges coming down here for Valesa. He's just trying to get as many units as possible because he only has 18 military right now, lowest in the game by far. And now finally we're starting to see Leary with some forward production buildings. And yeah, it's a game of inches right now in terms of just trying to take as much territory as possible, get closer and closer to that trade line, because that's really, I think, what's going to end this game one way or the other.
Trade numbers still looking good, actually better for the Finns. Perhaps now unpacking will try to go for that castle. A lot of archery ranges and siege workshop built, but they are now somewhat blocking the trade even. And we see a lot of access here on the minimap. Yeah, people really want to continue fighting. Torsion Engines now also on the way for Vilise. He is holding on to his dear life.
He is, but oh, that's a lot of siege rams with drill coming in from MBL. A lot of Mangudai to support it. Is it going to be enough here? Are the camels going to be enough to really stop this from MBL? I mean, this is a pretty terrifying push.
Oh yeah, and I would have said, yeah, well, mass Imp Camels or mass margin camels will do fine against those Mangudais, but they perform terribly against halberdiers, and Hart did add exactly those. So this will be tricky to engage. MBL Hart's nice team play, and this will be a very powerful push.
Yeah, certainly. We kind of see Finland trying to come in from every angle, but as you're saying, the halberdiers just provide enough of a meat shield, I think, for the Mangudai to deal just so much damage from behind, just possibly the best support unit in the entire game. And when you have 2 players going for, heavy cavalry units, camels, cavalier, that sort of thing, you leave yourself just a little bit more susceptible to the halberdiers, and that's what we're seeing Hart take advantage of, as we're really not seeing Valessa do enough to hold on here, I think, in the long run.
And he's still doing a nice mixture. Halberdier support at the Mango Dice, still sending in some light caps, some paladins to raid, some support at the right hand side. Sahara is completely playing out of his mind as well. A super good support player here, basically all over the map.
Oh yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. Just kind of everywhere where he needs to be, which is what you want from a pocket player in a 3v3, because unlike a 4v4, it's not like each flank has their own dedicated pocket to protect them. It's really down to the pocket of each team to just manage putting out all of the different fires that are going up across the map. And I think Hart doing a really good job of just splitting his forces and splitting his attention this game.
There are a bit more fires over at the side from Suomi. The big ram attack here. We see the camels engaging, but that's so many halberdiers. We see the Max losing every single Imperial camel here. This will be such a bad fight for them. Mangodoid's mass is still around. Rams can continue doing the damage. And I feel at another spot there, only half a screen away from killing the trade. The top is looking good for them as well.
Oh yeah, we just see AM here slowly pushing forward on every single side. SOs, just not really enough of them, and yeah, this trade's now under a lot of threat. Market's going to be going down very shortly, and I'm just not really seeing an out here for Team Finland.
Well, the GG out is something I can see. It's not really a winning out for sure. It's just going south for them all over the map. Military counts are just not really comparable to the ones of AM as well. They are just playing a beautiful game.
Yeah, just excellent play here from AM. Just fantastic coordination. Like we were saying earlier on, it just what makes the difference in these very high-level team games. Also think their Civ choices were very solid. Just all three of their Civs can really contribute a ton in the late game, whereas Malians not really as easily able to do that. So taking a little bit of a gamble with Mongols, as they do kind of struggle in like the mid game, but we're at hour 21, and yeah, that's pretty scary right here for Team Finland.
They're pushing back the right hand side and the center again. It's just incredible. Well, those heavy camels and camels, as I said, they are efficient. It feels Hart and MBL, they need to regroup. They need to get to another like 60 halberdier, 40 Mangudai, and then go for another push. But at the moment, needing to lick their wounds. Ooh.
Well, we have Zupi. He's getting the Elite Gebetto upgrade, so he sees it. He sees the potential of the unit. I mean, we saw Riot actually go for the unit earlier. I know you didn't get a chance to catch the games earlier, Nilly, but Riot, he tried to make the Elite Gebetto work in one of the earlier series of the day, and it didn't really go so well. See if Zupi can make this unit shine.
Oh, they are great against the halberdiers. So it's nice to kind of kill the buffer before the Mango dies. But once camels and halberdiers fall, those Mango dice against Gebetto, it's not even a fair fight.
Not remotely, and also there's the potential of SOs maybe flattening the Gebettos, as they are quite vulnerable. And I'm wondering, would AM perhaps be better served if they were helping Leary push a bit more? I feel like Leary just needs like a little bit more to really, axe this trade line and end the game, but maybe he's able to do that right now. Castle trying to be established here for Valessa, but that's a lot of SO.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. The mistake that Hart here is doing is that he isn't supporting too well. He just needs stables everywhere. He's still producing very far from home. He is going for some center control, but why? Well, just build 8 stables behind the lines at the top for Leary, and whenever Leary says, I need paladins now, with chivalry, Frankish paladins just instantly created could help so much better.
Oh yeah, Chivalry is such a good tech in the late game. It's literally double the Hun team bonus, and you get Frank Paladins on top of it, so that's pretty insane. But market's going down right now, and we see trade really starting to fall here for Suomi in the north, and that might just be the killing blow for our Finnish team.
At least now lost more than 30 trade cards. We still see Zupi and Max with solid numbers, but needing to replace those markets. The push is just continuing. The Max is regrouping. He is going for the big fight. They might clear this up with combined forces, but that should be the time where actually MBL should be pushing in somewhere. Where is he on the map? I'm quite confused that he isn't pushing. Let's take a look at the big fight in the top.
Big fight going to be unfolding. It's kind of Leary versus the world right now, but his army is just about everything you could want from a late game Ethiopian army, but it might just be a matter of numbers. If the SOs fall, everything else is going to die horribly, and, well, the SOs all fall and everything else is going to die horribly.
Now you see people even axing the wood lines here. So this is going to the supreme late game, where we need to, well, go for wood control. The wood price is also at 94, so people already started buying wood as well. Now this gets tricky.
Yeah, good point there, Nilly. I mean, we're playing Serengeti. There's not a lot of wood on this map. And yeah, we're looking at really very few trees left. So late game, really it can come down to which team has more wood. We actually have Zupi. He destroyed some trees with onagers. That might even be a mistake, because each of like the baobab trees have 200 wood. It's like every tree you accidentally cut is another 2 trees, normal trees worth of wood lost.
Yeah, that's obviously something they need to take good care now. They still have some wood in the center. That's what we are fighting for now. We can see even axing some spots to raid against Leary. And if we get into the super late scenario where wood is the limiting factor, the best unit that does not cost wood most of the time wins the game. And this again should be the Imp Camel here.
Well, yeah, of course, you know, heavy cavalry, other than maybe some unique units, are probably going to be your best bet. Actually, huge Imp Camel raid onto the wood line of Leary, which, as we were saying, is an important resource. And Leary just lost, what, 15, maybe even more villagers on the wood? So, I mean, Finland's doing everything they can to hold on at this point. Another castle going to be attempted here. 4+1. Oh my god! Oh my god! The SO hit! Torsen engines! Oh man, we were waiting for it, but Blessed lost so many Arbalests. Oh my god. Oh no. Nilly, tell me that there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
Not really for Villiers. He's now down to pop 50 only, and half of it is trade cards. So you see 8 military, 18 villagers. This is just impossible. He cannot even really build his production properly. No archery ranges, no siege workshops, and the Max at the same time is just banking resources. Let's take a look. We have solid resources for Zupi as well. Why are they not slinging more?
I don't know. We saw them slinging earlier when we thought it might not have been the best time to do so, and now that they really need to, they're not. I mean, at this point, the Max is just trying to carry with his Imp Camels, and he might be even taking a pretty good fight over towards the northeast of the map, but is this just something that Suomi can sustain in the long run?
Taking good fight, but losing all of them, and now the Mangloys for the first time start coming over. Can they sustain it for the long run? Well, not if we have this nice switch around here, and MBL beautiful micro out, microing those SO here as well, and now they will prepare another go. If I see more Paladins from Hard coming over, I think they could go for the game-ending fight, but it's still Villiers holding on to... Well, I'm not sure what he's holding on to, because he doesn't have a lot.
He's holding on to his 22 villagers and 9 military. Oh man, it's so rough. I mean, I've played games like this, I'm sure you have too, Nilly, where it's
Never.
like... Never? You've never been in a situation where your team's just like, don't die, don't resign. We got this. Oh man. But it's just really rough. Max finally tributing some wood to the less, but it's pretty tricky right now. I just want to see a little bit more of a concerted push from Team AM to the north, and I think they should be fine, though there is a big camel raid over to the trade line of AM.
Oh, where's that happening? Oh yeah, in the center. I'm seeing that now. Mangodice. Well, Heavy Camel's not really the unit number 1 to clear those Great cards, I want to say, but they're getting some reasonable kills in. Good job. And now at the top, again, Camels cleaning house. AM, they didn't win this game yet.
No, they have not. I mean, they're all still north of 175 pop, but Leary's Castle's going to go down. I mean, the Imp Camels can clean that up fairly quickly, especially since Leary not getting his building upgrades, making me sad. And now Heart's even transitioning into throwing Axemen. It's a battle of the ranged infantry unique units over here.
Can that be the right decision, though? Wood price now at 240. And Axemen? Well, it's better than Champions. It's better than Paladins against Imp Camels. It just feels so weird, but it might be a good option.
Yeah, we have a bit of an engagement with the Mangudai sniping a few of the Gebettos, and I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Nili, but I think throwing Axemen beat Gebettos in a straight-up fight, if they can actually force the engagement. But yeah, a lot of Gebettos going down right now for Zupi, and that's going to be still fairly expensive to replace.
I have no idea, by the way, X-Men against the Gebettos. For me, it's the same unit, but one is faster.
True, true. Heart coming up the core castle, though, right in the middle of the map. But I guess my question is, why are you pushing at this angle? What does it really give you?
Wood.
I mean, I guess it denies some wood income. I guess there's just no other wood income, so maybe this is exactly what AM needs. Though they're not really producing many wood units.
The Frank Castle is also a bit cheaper. Villagers are there all dying. It feels like last moment that Zupi is coming over and he stopped this quite nicely. That so many villagers dying here. And that was just super in time. But now MBL with nice Mangudai numbers. I think he can clean this up. Mangudais now super costly though, because they cost wood.
Of course. And, well, Doubt called and he wants his castle back. Heart sending some more villagers forward, but there just isn't enough buffer for the Mangudais, and oh man, MBL lost so many Mangudai to the Imp Camel right there, and there's still plenty of Gebetto left for Zupi. He has 92 military right now, Nili.
That's pretty damn solid. At the same time, though, release with only 17. Back to pop 94. They, well, reestablished their trade somewhat. Did delete some of their trade cuts, and oh, look at the left-hand side. The trade isn't going super efficiently there. There's still a lot of wood left as well.
Yeah, that's really surprising. I mean, yeah, that's a really unfortunate little pond, but that's like one of the easiest lumber camps to get. There's actually even stone left over by it, so you got another, 1,200-ish stone available to you. But now big Mangudai raid coming in from MBL. And this, if they just run right by the castles, they can kill plenty of trade cards. Attempted quick wall here for Zupi. Actually, will be enough. Lots of damage being done to the Mangudai.
Well, is it really? It's one castle, and now they're through. Not a single Mangudai died yet, and the Gebettos are super far away, and they aren't good for clearing up. And the Gebettos are going back as well. Did you really send them back to the center? I'm super surprised. What army is going there? Some Imp Camels, but not a big group. The Mangudais won't get cleared up for quite some time.
Yeah, certainly. Lots of trade cards are going to potentially go down. We see the Finnish players trying to prevent the trade cards from going on a doom trip to the other markets. But yeah, another attempted counter trade line raid going on in the base of Heart. And that is also going to be quite a few trade cards down. I mean, both teams just dealing very significant blows to each other's trade line.
And the Maxi is back at it again, and the Mangudais of MBL are pulled away. This is such a tricky game. I can't tell you how long it will take. I can't even tell you who is going to win. It feels AM still has the advantage because they have so much more map control, and Shoulder Warriors. They could be a pretty nice addition, especially with Halberdiers together against those Imp Camels. They have to go back in the center.
Are Showtells effective against Gebettos, though? Because I feel like don't they just kind of die before they can reach the Gebettos? I mean, these are the things that we are learning now. Obviously, all of the new expansion units are a lot less known to...
Oh, wait, so shots!
Oh, so... Oh my god!
Those are
So
some
many
big ones.
Gebettos going down right there. Torsion engines, it always delivers, Nilly.
Yeah, and that's
Beautiful
what we can
upgrade.
say about both units. Gebettos and Shodels. They just melt to SO because they're so little in their HP there. So, yeah, they always have to be on their toes. Tricky, tricky stuff. And Suomi, they're pushing this back again. And honestly, at one point, I was like, okay, this game, let's see how long it will take. But I felt AM won it. But now, I'm not sure at all. Look at the score.
Yeah, that score is gonna flip real soon. Is AM gonna fall apart here, Nilly? They've done it before, in ECL. And yeah, Hart losing a ton of villagers. Their populations are not looking terribly healthy. The max still standing strong at around 200. Zupi not too far behind, and AM lost the score lead for the first time in like an hour and a half.
What the F? How did that happen? What are they doing? Is it the Imp Camel? Is the Imp Camel alone winning them this game? At the moment, he's at 70 military. For the first time, the numbers are plummeting here from the AM guys. Yeah, they're still healthy, 50, 60 military numbers. Villager, not too high. Trade could be better as well. This is impossible to call.
Yeah, it really can go either way at this point. What a game to start this. This is just game one.
Oh my god!
We have another potential 5 games to cast. Oh man, this is just such a great way to start this best of 3 here between these two very closely matched teams.
Oh, absolutely. And that has to be like super exhausting for them to play as well. It's not like Black Forest 1 hour 46 minutes game where, yeah, I will micro an SO here, let's camp there, I will boom some optimization on the farms. No, this is fighting all game long, all over the map, rebuilding trades, building villagers, slinging your teammates, raiding here, defending there, another raid over here. This is so mad.
Yeah, Nilly, as Robo pointed out in chat, there isn't any wood left for AM. Like, they are literally out of wood, and that's why we see MBL's population count just plummeting so rapidly, because his sort of unit that he can best contribute with, the Mangudai, is pretty expensive on the wood. So he's gonna, he has to buy pretty much all the resources to replenish them at this point, and wow. I mean, we really have mostly food and gold units from at least the most contributing players on Team Finland in the Max and Zupi.
And it is 322 wood at the moment. Let's take a look. MBL, for him it's 364 because he does not have guilds even. So a single Mangudai costs like, what is that, 500 gold now? That's just ridiculous.
Oh, it's more than ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Oi!
And yeah, it's just so hard to sustain the Mangudai production at this point, and yikes. If this is a comeback from Team Finland, it's definitely going to go up there for Game of the Year for me.
They're leading by 90 pop now, and they will get another raid in the center where there is a lot of wood income. Axemen will go down, and those Imp Camels, that's what I said several times. Imp Camels will dominate this game in a normal game, and now without wood, even more.
Oh yeah, certainly. I'd be interested to see how different this game would pan out if it was played on the current live patch where the Imp Camels have the 1 less melee armor. But I mean, that's not the patch that they're playing on, and well, Camels are killing a lot of paladins in the center, and it doesn't seem like there's just enough stuff here for AM to hold on.
Left-hand side will be interesting. There's another push from Zupi. He's now moving in. Elite Mangudai are trying to defend. There's also 2 castles, some Axemen behind there, I believe. Zupi should not be able to do too much damage. Kind of a suicide mission for him, but he is going back. Clever choice.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just going to be a little too many units to try to muscle your way through to get to the trade line. And wow. How does this game even end anytime soon?
Well, it is the max getting onto 100 Imp Camels, and no one else having an answer. That's how it will go.
Yeah, of course, and anyone making halberdiers, that requires wood to make, and if that's the most valuable resource, then it's just kind of sad at that point. Maybe the show tells can be an okay answer, but they're never going to be a population-efficient answer. And looks like maybe Zupi can find a way in. Only some houses over here. Gotta love that Indian team bonus. Camels deal damage against buildings.
Yeah, how much is that? That's 7 plus 7 plus 6 or something? So they're doing quite a
Yeah,
lot.
Nilly math. It's 20, right?
Nearly math indeed. Could be true.
But looks like maybe even some more Mangudai going down. Yeah, I mean, I think this is starting to look actually really good for Team Finland.
And at the moment, it's totally fine if you trade like 3 heavy camels against a single Mangudai. Because a simple wood unit is incredibly expensive. And you see MBL is just struggling so much. He has 106 population at the moment, and that's including his 33 super precious elite Mangudais.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't put it better myself. Like, every single Mangudai that MBL loses is just so expensive to replace. And like, even in terms of Paladins, like, they're so much more expensive than the Imp Camel. Like, Imp Camels are such a cheap unit for how good they are. I think that's one of the more underrated aspects of the unit is, like, compared to the Nightline, they cost a fair bit less and really helps the Max just keep his camel numbers so high this entire game.
Yeah, and now they're in the trade again. Indeed, in camels, as I said, they feel kind of broken and they need a lot more fixes. We are playing with 5-7-4 of the balance patch, so +1/+1 for them here. And this is just a tricky spot. And this is just so many trade cards going down. Trade card numbers now in the 20s. AM, they can't have a good mute.
No. I mean, Nilly, this game's over. Like, no one is above 150 pop on AM, and the closest person is Leary, and he's just throwing a lot of show tells into the meat grinder. And like, there's nothing that Hart and MDL can seem to contribute at this point. GG.
What did we witness here, Onlu? This was a sick game. Like, it felt okay. Release at minute 35, lost all his villagers there at the TC. It is GG. Then okay, well, they recovered. Now they're pushing at the top. It is GG. Okay, then they hold the top. Okay, left-hand side, Zupi is breaking down against the Mangudais. It is GG. And I was wrong like 4 or 5 times in this game. The Max, the Imp Camel, is a beautiful unit, and he made it work.
Oh man, did he hit that C button a lot. But yeah, oh man, Neely, that was an amazing game. Almost 2 hours game time. Oh boy, and that's just game 1. Like I said, we're in for a real treat with this series.
And how can you have a reasonable mindset if you are AM here? Because honestly, it feels to me, on paper, they played better. It was simply Indians, Imp, Camels, carrying them so much, having the Max as a pocket position there, just won them the game. You see the overall kills, he's at 1.8k, that's roughly the combined kills of Zupi and Felice.
Yeah, that excellent stat there to point out. I mean, the Max just totally carrying that game. I mean, we make jokes about the Max pocket with a Paladin Civ, well, equivalent thereof with the Imp Camels. And yeah, he is just such a strong player. Really, I don't want to say like abusing an overpowered unit, but making good work with it.
Holy crap. That game. I feel like that might have been one of the best games I've ever seen in my life.
My vote for best game of the year.
Like, seriously, though. I mean, at one point, Veles is down to like 40 pop, while AM are all at 200? And they come back from that? That's insane.
Absolutely.
But I think the even more impressive thing is that Suomi didn't say, nah, this is GG. Nah, Veles is down to like, 40 pop. He's down to 8 military and 9 vills or whatever. And it's over, guys. Like, they actually played on and they actually believed in themselves to come back from that. They knew it might be possible and they actually pulled it off, which is insane. Right. How do we even go forward from here? Because that was mental.
What is the mood in the team now? if you feel AM, they have to be like shattered, and
God,
Zomi,
yeah.
they feel like they are unbeatable at the moment. They were down so many times, always refuse to die.
Yeah, that was yeah. I don't know, man. That's rough. Yes, that's rough for for AM at least. I mean, even Finland are probably feeling pretty worn out after that one because it was a very hard fought win. It's not like they had it easy. Jeez.
Yeah. Dang.
Members saying, do we need a 20-minute pause now? No, we don't. Give us a few minutes, though. I think everyone would probably do well to have a drink of water and take a moment here. So I'll put... Are you okay with 4 minutes, guys?
That's
Yeah.
fine with me.
Okay, I'm going to stick 4 minutes on the clock for game 2. Grab a drink, take a quick toilet break if you need, and we'll be back shortly for game 2 in, well, what is so far the best series we've ever seen. We'll see if more of that continues in the Sahara for game 2, so we'll be right back. Stay tuned. And actually, before I do go away for just a second, don't forget there's a giveaway going on as well. You guys can enter that for free to win a Microsoft Surface Pro. The link is below the stream, or you can click the link in the chat and enter for free to win a Microsoft Surface Pro. But we'll be back in 3.5 minutes, guys. Well, guys, what an insane first game of that series. Seriously. Oh, I can't get over just how good that was. And if that's a sign of things to come, then Sahara is going to be another fantastic game as well. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We appreciate you being here. And, well, with games like this, you're not missing a thing. Jeez, it's unbelievable. Now, obviously, I want to point out something from that last game, and that is the fact that they had the foresight to switch into units that weren't costing wood, right? I mean, that was insane. Like, you saw Zuppy going into Gabeto, not because they were, necessarily the best unit. They were very strong, but they didn't cost wood, and that's important. You saw Lyri going into Showtells, not because they were the best unit for the situation, but because they didn't cost wood. And so then you ended up in a situation where MBL didn't have a unit. Like, what does he do? He can't make a unit that doesn't cost wood, and, well, when you've got no wood left, you're in big trouble. And I think that's kind of how that played out in the end. Maybe you guys agree or disagree, but I think, really, I mean, Mongols, you can't argue that they're a bad team game civ, but perhaps they weren't the right civ for that situation in the end there.
Yeah, probably not. And if I recall correctly, Lyri never was above 30 trade cards or so. And in general, I feel like AM didn't have as much trade as they could have. And that might have cost them a lot of resources over the course of the game, even less able to buy wood.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So Nilly, are you back?
Yes.
Okay, great. So let's go into game 2. People are starting to leave, so we'll get game 2 going. So stay tuned. That's going to be starting in just a second.
All right, guys. After that crazy game number 1, welcome to game number 2. Map will be Sahara. AM versus Suomi. Suomi winning the last game in a pretty fantastic comeback and one of the best games I have ever seen. So, without further ado, for Team Finland, north flank is going to be Blessa once again in the gray. He will be the Mayans. Pocket is going to be the Max in his cyan as the Spanish. Oh boy, Pocket, Paladin Civ for the Max. And then in the south flank will be Zoo as the blue Franks. Probably looking for a little bit of revenge here will be Team Aftermath, and that will be MBL in the red on the south flank as the Spanish as well. Pocket going to be Hart once again, and he'll be in the purple as the Malians. And finally, will be Lyri in the north flank as the yellow Mayans. So Nilly got 2/3 of a mirror over here. What do you think?
It is obviously the difference in the pocket because that's the only non-narrative. And now it feels like reversed roles, right? One guy who most likely will have paladins as his unit choice in late imp against a guy who has pretty strong camels there. So this time it feels hard, could be the better spot. And also the top. That has to be super interesting. Lyri, Mayans flank, Belize always has to be on his tippy toes. Otherwise, this could get pretty ugly pretty soon.
Yeah, definitely. One thing I actually really want to point out, like right off the bat, is Lyri's map. All of his stones are forward, and they're all right next to each other. So that is actually also somewhat true for Veles, but Power Rush from either of these guys could potentially deny them that crucial stone, which you, of course, want to get your castles and plumed archers.
Sorry, I was distracted a bit, and that's true. But plumed archers more of a bit of a later unit. At the start, we need to see archers, then we need to go into crossbowmen, and then it will get tricky for him. He needs to expand toward the center. Will be quite open. Plumed archers only an option if they have the map control before that.
Nilly, obviously you didn't watch CL play earlier today. Do you think he made any sort of archers when he could have made plumed archers? No, earlier today we did see a lot of like Drush fast castles with Mayans, the plumed archers as you would expect. I can only remember one game where that didn't happen, and I think that was Yo, because he was getting tower rushed. So we'll see if either of the Mayan players here can get that fast castle off, or we're going to see something a bit more aggressive. Sahara is generally speaking a pretty open map, but that hasn't cause teams to shy away from the walling and the fast castling. So we'll have to see how that plays out here.
Yeah, I'd absolutely agree. It feels more open, but Leary, for example, has a wallable map for sure. Belize, well, he can go for some bigger walls. It is somewhat okay, but the distance of the flank is just so short. I feel a real fast castle should be out of the question here.
I think especially for Leary, because he is pretty far away from his pocket and heart, just like distance-wise. Whereas you see the Finnish players all, I think, a lot more, bunched up together over in the east of the map. Probably going to be a bit easier for them to support one of each other.
Boarding. I'm not sure if you cut out or your sentence ended. Let's take a look at the Max TC. Looks pretty beautiful there. Pushed for deer. Already has his 2 lumber camps rolling. We probably will expect a lot of, well, paladins, or like scouts first, then later into paladins. Hard is up as well. Zuppy on the way. MBL, the only guy who's going for something, well, that we will take a closer look at for sure. That might be M&As. Take a close look also if he's going for stone. Might be some aggression. For now, only infantry.
Yep, Men-at-Arm play coming in from MBL. I think we're pretty unlikely to see any archers from the Spanish since, have crossbow. So, there we go. There are the villagers. I was wondering when they'd come out. And it will be for a Men-at-Arm tower play onto Zupi. And I think this is something that can do work against the Franks. If they're going to go for the scouts opening, and with both of the stones being forward for Zupi, this could be pretty painful for him to deal with.
Not only both stones, all 3 of them are in the open here. We're playing Sahara, so you have 3 stone spots, and yeah, this will get tricky. He is scouting it now, though, is taking a lot of damage on his scout. Not too nice for him. Is getting up to feudal age now. This will be tricky. Barracks delayed as well because he was walling all this front. He will need a lot of help from the Max, and even then, it's double scouts.
Yeah, that's a pretty risky thing, I think, to not go for the archers. But you're sort of caught in this position where you never really want to go for the archers if you can avoid it as Franks. So it's going to be, I think, pretty tricky here for Zubi to defend. Going to be using a lot of villagers to build this tower. He needs to be able to secure some sort of stone income if he wants to defend against this.
Yeah, and he's doing a good job. Instant counter tower is getting it up as well. Remember, tower against tower, hill bonus is not in effect here. The tower of MBL even shooting the barracks. That's a pretty good start here for Zupi. It looked like he could be in troubles, but nice reaction so far. Lovely play.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate Zupi's defense so far. He did end up losing a villager due to the double team of Hart and MBL. And the wall is still open, and I really would like to have seen, the Men-at-Arms go chase down the opening and make sure Zupi can't wall. Instead, they're sticking by the tower.
That's surprising to me as well. I would have thought MBL, he's such an aggressive guy that he just go for the aggression there. It was open, they had the timing. Hart was coming over as well. It felt weird that he stayed at the tower.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he would have, what was he thinking he would accomplish there? He's not gonna actually win that.
I think he wanted to protect his 3 villagers. The tower was going down. He knew that some scouts of the Max were around. Didn't add any spearmen yet. Only doing that now. And yeah, just wanted to make sure that those 3 villagers will survive. Is getting onto stone. And, well, he can go for a bit of a later attack now.
Yeah, I suppose you can, but I guess my thought would be, why not eject the villagers from your tower sooner, as soon as you realize, okay, I'm not going to win this tower shootout, and then, place another tower or go to stone if you don't have any stone mining at home, which I think is the case for MBL, yeah. So I don't know. But regardless, Max is going to be coming over here to support his teammate, Soupy, who, does he have any stables yet? I guess no military production other than just the one barracks.
That's weird, right? But you know who else is coming over? It is Velis, and those 5 archers, they will just clean house against what MBL is doing. Let's take a look. Will he finish that tower? We have Velis half his screen away. They need to debate quite a bit, need to force that tower. Can they prevent it?
Oh, it's going to be real close. Archers coming in, going to be shooting at the villagers. They're kind of bugging out, trying to throw their hammers down and finish the tower. Looks like maybe 1 or 2 villagers will go down. 2 villagers will go down, but the tower will complete. But yeah, that's 2 villagers that MBL just will not have any sort of access to because they're dead. So yeah, it's I still think a pretty nice fight there for Team Finland.
And at the same time, Velis lost some villagers on his gold, didn't completely wall. Some scouts of Heart came into the back, did snag 2 villagers there. Yeah, he's scaring them away with his archers now, but that was not the greatest thing for him. Leary, at the moment, he's playing this completely blind, right? This is such a weird thing. Okay, no, he is going over there with his archers as well, and now trying to find an opening against the Max. Let's see if they can do any damage at the moment. The Max, he needs to work quickly.
Yep, I think he should be fine. Throw down like a market or just palisade gates, or normal gates. Now that you're able to freely rotate gates with user patch 1.5.
Oh, that's a fail. The one in the middle has only 24. Okay, now he's putting that one as well.
Oh yeah, whoa, that was nearly a disaster. But yeah, I think that the Max should be fine here, especially with the faster working Spanish builders and good old T shape of gates. Will be fine for the defense for the time being. Hart and Leary both up on their way to the Castle Age.
I think we will see more of those kind of walls behind, and it's just a super safe way. You just make sure that you aren't taking any losses. And gates, well, they are just so powerful, and people finally realize how to use them properly. Nice move here. But Hart and Leary, they have a new target.
That will be Valessa, and we'll be trying to throw down a market, but it's going to be pretty tricky to hold on 1v2 if he can't get this market up. Going to want to have the Max coming forward. Where is the Max? Where's his scouts?
He is knocking at the door of MBL here, who's trying to go for some walls as well. Defensive tower was set up there earlier, and well, the Max, he isn't having to face too much army of MBL. He's just walling, and that's still somewhat open.
It is still somewhat open. Defensive tower is going to be coming in for our red player. Scouts, they're just going to run right in. They don't care. Not enough villagers able to jump into the TC in time. Going to be maybe some more attempted quick walls from MBL, but those are not going to be successful. And yeah, these 3 scouts can be pretty annoying for a red player.
Bloodlines N+1 defense, so it's pretty tough to kill them. Trying to fight it off with the villagers. Let's take a look. MBL with a solid micro, but that will be more kills for our player in the teal trunks.
Yeah, we do see Hart coming in to support his teammate. He does have the melee upgrade advantage, and that will probably be enough to clean up the rest of these scouts. Oh, but still 1 more villager picked off before all is said and done. Nice little raid for the Max. So crossbow now done for Leary, and this might be a bit painful for Valesse. He is still not quite up to the Castle Age, and that palisade is dead.
Oh man, and Leary is just so good at perfecting those build orders. Did get the mass amount of crossbows out. Nice transition now into this very heavily upgraded army. Crossbowmen +2 attack, and that's just deadly. Didn't really go for the kill. Didn't really commit. Interesting.
Yeah, I think that's probably because that the Max was in the Castle Age and he didn't want to get smashed by a bunch of knights coming at him from behind. That's just not wanting to take the risk, making sure that he and Hart could meet up and make sure that they take an engagement together. But, you know, it's still, I guess, not like lucky for Valesse, but he'll at least be okay here.
Again, look at his villagers. So yeah, he isn't lucky for sure. And okay as well, but 33 villagers. This could be the same story again. Will be tricky for him to really get wood. No real control there. Now only is going on to stone to get himself up to another castle. Not enough wood to build that either, though. Tricky spot.
Yeah, that's a really unfortunate spot. Looks like he is going to be adding on one additional TC, but Leary's already up to 3 and just got constant production of crossbows, villagers. He's getting his boom up and running. Sure, all this stone is going to be for a castle in transition into bloomed archers, but castle already almost up here for MBL, and it will be the conquistadors here for the Spanish player.
Oh boy, and that's probably the most cost-efficient unit in the game. And Zupi with knights, that will be just impossible. How can you take reasonable engagement? Go ahead.
Zupi is dropping a castle right in the face of MBL. So, one castle deserves another, but I mean, it can't be for the throwing axeman. That's not going to be the answer to conquistadors. But I wonder what he plans on doing with this.
Probably denying the main gold spot. He's also pressuring the other gold spot. He is doing quite fine here, but the quick walls didn't finish in time. Castle only at 70%, and it looks like Hard is doing quite a lot of damage against those. Some microing back with the conquistadors here, but still 5 heavily wounded villagers continuing to build this castle. Corrected. 3 villagers now.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the value of conquistadors, right? They're a ranged unit. They're able to harass these villagers no problem. As long as they can connect with their little muskets, they're going to do okay. These are not Spanish builders, so the castle's going to go fairly slowly, but it looks like it will just be enough here for Zupi. MBL not feeling like he can deny it in time, and castle's going to come up, and main gold will be denied, at least for the time being.
Yeah, what is MBL's plan now? Obviously move into the other golds, but Zupi should know of that one. So one single tower could take MBL somewhat out of the game here.
Yeah, that would be a pretty great tower if Zupi decides to make it, or just another castle. And
speaking of castles, look at
hello. Leary coming in with a castle, and we see Veles once again kind of taking a beating. There's not a whole lot he can do to fight this superior armory of both Leary and Hart. And this castle, I am quite sure, is going to go up for our player in the yellow.
I think so as well. There's no army around contesting that, or actually the max is now coming over, but there's so much army going back and trying to defend this. This castle has to go up. And then, Believes he is heavily on stone, can maybe get a defensive castle up, but that's 1 gold spot, 2 stone spots. Ugly spot for him again.
Yeah.
For Willis.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm wondering what you think of the the unit compositions for Team Finland. We have 2 players going for the Mass Knights, 1 player going for the crossbows. I think you have the unique unit plus crossbow plus knight combo for AM. Which do you think is going to be a bit more effective here?
Obviously, plumed archers are just way better. The question is how the Eagles look and how they will transition. I don't really see anyone taking big fights here. For me, it feels Willis just needs to sit back, maybe needs to build a defensive mangonel. And Conquistadors won't do too much against Zupi. I think we will see decisive fights when people reach Imperial Age.
Yeah, with castles coming in for most of the players in this game, it's going to be really tricky to actually break anybody. And yeah, indeed, Hart will be our first player to click up to the Imperial Age. He's really not taken any damage at home. He's just had a pretty free, uninterrupted boom, just kind of standard pocket play, 3 TC, making cavalry. And we'll see if AM can use that to their advantage.
Must be nice. Now going with the siege workshop behind it, but actually not really walled there. Knight scaring away Mr. MBL, and the big attack. The Max, he did some damage last game as well with his Camels early Imperial Age. Let's see what those Knights can do now. Hard. What is his reaction? He can't get the walls up.
No, there is literally always a hole. And yeah, Knights flooding on in here for our Cyan player, the Max. Remember, Hart can make camels, whereas the Max can't, so that can be a potential answer here. But at a minimum, there's going to be quite a lot of idle time, and inevitably, quite a few villagers are going to go down here, I think.
And there were even in villages before that military count was slightly in favor of Hart. I think after this, the Max will have less units, but a good lead in villagers. And as you said, idle villager time, that's just massive at the moment. He was at 80 villagers, 47 of those idle at the moment.
The feels when 2/3 of your economy is forced idle. It's not really ideal for Hart, especially as he's in this, pretty critical juncture getting up to the Imperial Age. He needs to be able to afford all of those upgrades to actually make the Imperial Age useful. And now he's probably going to have a hard time getting all of those out at once and not really going to be able to take advantage of the faster Imperial time than the Max.
Well, let's take a look at the fight here at the top first. Leary is trying to micro this. Zupi with a nice surround. Interesting team play. That Zupi is actually the one coming over, and that is a nice clear up. Leary just shortly before reaching Imperial Age is losing his complete army.
Yeah, I mean, Leary might not be too concerned about losing the crossbows because he is making that transition into the plumed archers, but I don't know, you never want to throw away 30 crossbows for free, and I feel like that maybe he was a little overextended there, but still, Leary almost up to the Imperial Age, will be a little bit ahead of Velez, and will likely have the trebuchets coming out quite soon.
Let's see, it is Velez even preparing some rams, so he is relying on the units of the Max. Cavalier and Ram goes probably the plan there, but Hart, well, he is not lazy this game. He is going for the heavy camel upgrade, goes for the +4 defense. I only want to see Cavaliers, and then probably the expected big fight early Imperial Age here at the left-hand side.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we've been predicting for quite a while now. You actually have a barracks coming down here from Leary. I wonder if that's going to be for potential halberdiers to help protect against the cavalry, as there are 2 players making the night line on Team Finland. But yeah, we see Hart coming in here, and he's just even going to start trashing these stables from the Max, and that's really going to gimp his unit production here, as he is also now just in the Imperial Age.
Oh yeah, and he wants to get into Paladins. That will be not really what he can go for. And, well, they will free his stables now, though. Lovely team play again. At the same time, we see Leary moving forward, though. This is a tricky one. It feels MBL is just playing this 1v1 against Zupi there, pretty evenly. And then, what we said earlier, it will be camels against paladins, potentially. And now plumed archers against arbalest. Looks better for AM.
Yeah, also Leary with the not like walling in their Velez per se, but totally securing tons of map control, getting some extra resources, and of course setting things up for getting trade established relatively soon. But in comes the big ram push from Velez. He does have capped ram, but no siege ram just yet, and Hart is already here with plenty of knights to stop those guys.
And that's what I said, that Ramgo has to be aided by the army of the Max, and he was out of position. That's why most of the Rams are already going down. Plumed Archer, still no elite here. He's upgrading that at roughly 60% at the moment. He is running back, and then the Max at the moment, yeah, he is helping, but that feels a bit like him being left alone. What is Velez getting on the map again?
Not a whole lot, but to be fair, he's only a little bit behind in population compared to Zupi, but that's not a good thing, because Zupi just lost his forward castle, MBL, ahead to the Imperial Age, ahead in that Treb War, and now things, I think, are starting to look really dire for Team Finland. Just not really with a whole lot of army right now, I think, that can really compare to the quality of the army of AM.
And speaking of quality, Leary with elite plumed archers How can you ever kill those? He is up to 50 elite plumed archers there, has his traps out, pushing with more and more castles. This guy is unstoppable at this point. I don't see the max ever getting onto, what will he need? Like 60 paladins to kill this?
Well, I mean, ideally, paladins are at least okay against the plumed archers because they have that additional pierce armor. But with no real plumed archer threat from Bless, I mean, he has a few, but they're not particularly well upgraded, and that just means Hart can focus heavily on the camel. And yeah, mass heavy camels with Malians versus mostly paladins with just a few ranged units. That seems pretty good here for AM to close out this game.
Indeed, and that's what we kind of expected early on, right? And they're already setting up the trade. Huge walls from Leary all over the map. Some more gates would have been better here as well. But now we might see the big engagement. Paladins moving forward. Camels were out of position. Hard. Is he adding some more stables? Not really. Trade is just going horribly at the moment, since Leary still has most of his base walled.
That's pretty awkward, but I'm sure they'll get that sorted out. And this castle is about to fall here for Bless, and is that his only castle? Yeah, that's his only castle, so that would be no more plumed archer production. And a Mayan player, you can't make a ton of plumed archers in the late game, probably not going to be able to contribute a whole lot in terms of value to these armies.
He is not Eldorado Eagles is something, but he couldn't do really Eldorado, and then those are weaker than the Paladins as well. Maybe switching into a Sling as an option, but 80 villagers not having all the upgrades as well, that will be tricky. Let's see, this could be the big engagement that, if the max is clearing everything, could swing the fate of the game. But it feels like, yeah, he is winning, but not decisive enough.
Yeah, Hart is not with as many Cavalier and Heavy Camel there, but Leary, with Plumed Archers, they're obviously a very nimble unit, able to back right on up to the castle, and there's no way that the max can actually do Leary and really, put a dent in those Plumed Archer numbers, now sitting at 60 military, largest army in the game right now.
Oh yeah, and that's what, yeah, I couldn't agree more. And how is trade looking? It's just so tricky. MBL still super active. Elite Conquistadors, he's just raiding over and over again. It's so tricky for Zubi to stop that. Yeah, he's trying to come over, but no real answer. Dominant play by Leary here.
And that's GG. Wow, that was fast. I guess no real super decisive fight, but I mean, I don't think you disagree that the game was looking pretty grim there for Suomi.
Yeah, no chance of getting the raid in. MBL was winning against Zupi, and yeah, it's just tricky to play this out. And I to do a super good analysis, I think I needed to rewatch this game. What went so wrong for Veliz? Was it that one raid, that one opening in the back that cost him some gold wills? Then he couldn't keep up with production. Leary outmassed him, and he just couldn't fight properly in Castle Age. It might have been it. He was down by 10 villagers, and then, well, Max can't take incredible fights against those Malian camels either.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it really analyze this, you probably want to watch the replay, but I remember in like early Castle Age, Velez just wasn't able to throw down TCs, have the resources because he took the damage in the Feudal Age because he wasn't bald. Then, because he wasn't able to do anything aggressive, he just kind of fell further and further behind. And then in the South, it was just kind of a stalemate between Zup and ECL, and that meant that it just kind of snowballed out of control in favor of AM.
Oh man, and those trade cards going through the fighting line there between the Max and Leary. Interesting stuff. And let's take a look at the overall stats.
So Leary, most units killed, largest army by far, having a little less than double the army of the next largest in the game. Maxed with the best boom, not too surprising, just not really able to enough to help out his dying teammate. That's really about it.
Another thing that went so badly for Velis is that he also went for only offensive wood lines and then needed to go back. Maybe split off your wood lines could have helped. Even that if you get raided at your front wood line, the other half of all your wood villages is still working if you need to pull them. Could have been another mistake.
That's a really good point. That's something I tell my people on stream all the time not to do. And yeah, don't really want to have all of your wood denied, as you're saying, because that just causes so much idle time, especially in the feudal age where wood is such a crucial resource. And as you were saying, that can lead to things falling out of.
You're cutting out for me.
Yeah, Only was kind of cutting out a bit there.
Oh, sorry
You were
about
fine
that.
until that point.
Oh, was it just there, or?
Yeah, it was just there.
Oh.
At least for me, anyway. So the next game, by the way, we need to load up individually since there was a drop in the game. So if you guys can move it to your Warlord Kingdoms patch 5.7.4 save game folder, then we can launch it individually.
Can't we start together?
No.
Okay.
It would be, yeah, it'd be easier if we could, but it just doesn't make sense. Because we'd have to split out anyway, I think. Anyway, so yeah, nice game from AM there. They kind of did in that game what they should have done in the first game, I think, which was the team wall, which they kind of missed out on, I think, in the first game. And also the very decisive push with Leary. It seems like in both games now, Leary's gone toe-to-toe against Valessa on the flank and won decisively on the flank. So really good play from Leary so far this series. And this time he had the support of his pocket rather than being left to do it all alone. I think that was maybe one of the key factors for him. Next game will be Rift Island, by the way. Again, we saw an awesome game on Rift Island earlier with SY. We're going to see another game now, and this map is kind of crazy. Obviously, we'll give you guys a chance to talk about it once the game starts. And speaking of starting the game, are you guys ready?
I am.
1 second. Sorry.
Okay. No problem. Well, when Only is ready, we will start. But yeah, I tell you what, how about I show the Rift Island intro video? I should have shown this earlier, but I will show it to you now instead. So here's a video outlining Rift Island and what it's all about. Welcome to Rift Island, a brand new map created by MuckDK, the winner of the ECL Africa map-making contest. This new map will be available to teams in the 2v2 and 3v3 Africa events in the upcoming ECL stage. We're here today to showcase the map and what it has to offer. Rift Island is a relatively open map that aims to force players toward the center. Food is in abundance here, as players start with 8 goats, 2 rhino, and a regular berry bush. However, in the center of the map, you'll find a waterhole, where large groups of zebra can be hunted. Players start relatively close together, meaning that the rush distance will be short and the potential for action in the center of the map will be high. This map also features water and reasonable fishing around the edge too. It will be interesting to see how teams approach this, and opens up a variety of different strategies. Fishing in the back may be safer than attempting to gather the zebra in the middle, but where will the balance lie? The woodlines on this map are also larger and more concentrated around the edge, meaning that walling across the front of your base will be a much harder task. This should lead to more aggression, and if the fronts of bases are secured, the opportunity for a landing is always there, with the water going all the way around the outside. Stone and gold is standard, and there's a concentration of relics in the center of the map too, further increasing the value of holding this area. So let's see if this map gets picked or banned in the map drafts, and we're certainly looking forward to seeing what strategies the 8 best teams in the world will use here in the Africa stage. Alright, so there you have it. That was the Rift Island video to give you an idea of what this map is all about. And without further ado, we will get it going. So if you guys are ready, I'll count us down and we'll start this one going. Are you ready?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. All right. That wasn't a rhetorical question. That was a question. All right.
No, you said. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Right. In 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, everybody. Sorry about that small little technical bug we have to work around, but we are here. We are at the Rift Island. What a really interesting, crazy map. We saw a really silly game earlier between SY and VNA. So hopefully this will live up to that. And this series has been excellent to cast so far. So let's get into it. Really trying to make the comeback and win here. We have Team Suomi on the right with the Max on the north flank as the Cyan Portuguese, not in the pocket. The pocket this time will be Velez in the green as the Italians. And in the south flank will be Rubenstock. So our first player substitution of the map, of the series, I believe. And he will be the Grey Mongols. Their opponents, winning the last game, I think quite decisively, will be MBL in the south flank in the red as the Italians. Pocket will be Nikov, another substitution. He'll be the purple Portuguese. And finally, Leary, north flank, yellow Vikings. Nilly, tell me what I need to know.
Oh, well, you need to know a lot. First of all, 2 substitutions. What does that mean? Why are we losing Hart? Why are we losing Zopi? Could mean a lot. They maybe wanted to leave. Maybe Roomstock and Nikov prepared something. A lot of speculation that we could do here. MBL, he has somewhat of a bugged map, right? He will obviously go for a heavy water approach, like most have to do. And it feels like his fish will be just weaker than it should be. What is all this land? Yeah, he scouts it. He will build his docks a bit more to the front. Maybe he might even be forced to build it very much into the direction of Roomstock.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. I've never seen the map generate like this before. But yeah, other than it making MBL's fishing a bit worse and maybe Nikov's to a smaller degree, ships can still traverse that no problem. So it's not like it's, a big of a deal in that regard. But yeah, I mean, this map, it is Rift Island. It is a very strange map. Which team do you think is going to want to make more of a play for the water, and which team do you think is going to make more of a play for the land? Because that was a big deal in the earlier game on this map.
I think you need to always go for water. The center area is just so important. Going for land only is not really an option. And let's take a look at the civilizations. It feels like Vikings, Portuguese, Italians. Kind of screams, we all are aiming to go for water instead of the Mongols.
Yeah, certainly. Was that the drop?
I'm still in the game. I'm at 5 minutes, 20 seconds.
I'm at 5:04 and it says game over.
Uh-oh, GGU. Well, then I will do some single casting and you try to read up, my friend. Are you sure that you are at the patch 574? You will talk with Robo.
Yeah,
I will talk with Zach a bit here. We have the triple dog on the outside, so that's kind of the more passive approach. Other teams would like to go more for the center, and we see everyone will kind of fish boom. And AM, they are trying to team wall as well. Remember, guys, we are playing with spearmen here instead of scouts, so scouting out that area is a bit tougher. You're slower, you have less vision, and still, yeah, Portuguese will help out quite a bit organizing that for both sides. We see Roomstock, the first one to be up 8:57. That's quite a nice uptiming for sure. And he will pressure some. The question is, will it be on land? Will it be on water? I assume this should be fire. Galley here is sending more over, builds a second lumber camp. I want to see some villagers being sent on gold. Has one aggressive villager here and more, well, moving towards the center. No one really going for the deer or zebra here. That's what we have seen so many times in all over ECL. We just scratch our head. What can we do to create fun maps? Okay, let's put a lot of food in the center. And it felt that people most of the time ignored it. Yeah, it is incredible amount of free food, especially with Mongols, but you're also so exposed. You can die to demo hits. Fire galley can come around in that center area as well, so that people are always going more for the water approach, ignoring the center, although some monk rush could later on be some option. So many relics to grab, center control, truly important, but for now, Homestuck, the first one to go for feudal age, or arriving in the feudal age, will go for some aggression. Vilis still deep in the dark age. Same goes for Mr. Nikov. So they are playing the FCs. Nikov, 2 dogs, and the same for Vilis. So they will go for the big eco approach. 7 efficiency for Mr. Nikov, and Lyri goes for the galleys here at the side. Maybe later we could even see some special bodies like longboats or caravels in the center. They are just super nice for some center control. You know what's also super nice? Onlu, who might be back.
I wish, man.
I thought I bought enough time.
You did a superb job, Nilly. But oh man. You know, you gave me the layup and I dropped it.
Nah, not much you could do. It's sometimes technical issues. So what can we do? Well, we are still in Dark Age, guys. KD overall is 0-0 for everyone. You didn't miss anything. Yeah, we are seeing some random skirmishes here. Some spearmen running around, harassing a bit and denying the team wall, quote unquote denying, because it's, more of delaying here. Aggression at the side of Roomstock, who got 1 kill. Well, not too important, and well, we will just get even more time on because part number 1 ends for me here. 11 minutes 26 seconds. We see water aggression from the flank players here, all 4 ones. Both pockets are fish booming, and let's see how we are developing here in the later phases. Maybe quick look into achievements. Shouldn't be too important. Release, nice amount of food. Nikov has the wood approach here on the other side. Obviously needed that a bit more since his fishing ship cost more. And we are just loading up the second part here.
Well, I have the second part loaded in, so hopefully it will, play to conclusion.
Okay, well, we'll see. I'm ready for the Nilly countdown. Zach will surely be ready as well.
I hope so. I mean, I'm loading now, so I'll be ready. Go on, Nilly. Do us a Nilly countdown.
Okay, 5, 4, 2, 1, and go.
Alrighty, so technical difficulties hopefully averted at this point. We are in the feudal age action just about to kick off, but here we're starting to see the potential problem of the Viking flank, as they don't get fire galleys, and Lyri, he's going to need to have some pretty stellar micro if he wants to not lose everything to these slightly tankier fire galleys from the max, and that doesn't really seem to be a reality right now.
Oh, and that's still with the old patch, as we said. So Fire Galley still doing 3 damage against the fishing ship, already 2 down. KD at the moment, the max, 5 kills, 0 losses, now even microing back. This is a good start for him. Maybe could have focused down those galleys though. Yeah, he's killing a bit of fish, but I think going for the galleys could have been the better approach. Lyri, maybe he should have added a demo. This is looking somewhat okayish for our Finnish superstar.
Yeah, certainly, and I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on this, Nilly, as it looks like this fire galley will eventually die, but not before killing 1 more galley. Do you feel like Vikings are even worth it on these sorts of maps in case you do get them on the flank? Because, we've been playing in RTSL recently, and whenever we play water maps and get Vikings on the flank, we just kind of feel very sad and lose. So what do you think is the value of Vikings at this point without fire galleys?
Well, it all depends on the distance, and that's what you saw. The max was redocking towards Lyri because he wanted to decrease the distance, and he did a beautiful job. That's why he had the small advantage. But the longer it goes, the better it gets for Leary here. He can also go on longboats. I think once we reach the phase where he has 8 to 10 galleys up, maybe one demo in front of that, he should be winning the water against basically any civilization.
Yeah, certainly. It's all about just can you survive that first, say, 4 or 5 minutes of water aggression, and it looks like not totally unbruised, but Leary's alive right now. Does not want to lose an extra fishing ship, though. I mean, this is not on the most recent patch. We'll lose an extra fishing ship for free there. Not really ideal. And Max just kind of running rampant in the fishing lines of Team Suomi, or AM.
But Nikov, luckily, I think I've never said that before, never thought of that before as well. The fishing ship, well, they hold 2 more shots. And, well, in the actual patch, or in the patch that we're using now, it's 6 more shots, because fishing ship have more HP here as well. And we see Nikov is even going for water as well. So full AM water control here. And at the same time, since they're only going for water at the outside, Roomstock finally abusing the here in the center. What is Release up to?
Interesting thought there. It seems like he's just going for a fish boom, maybe? At least that'd be my guess. He's throwing down a town center, just making some knights to take map control. And in the game we saw earlier today with SY versus VNA, I mean, it was really down to SY focusing much more on the land control, actually ended up winning them the game as they just took all the middle map control. The Mongol player, Mr. Yo, just got a huge economy up and running, and it just kind of smashed VNA's more water-focused strategy. So we'll see if we're going to have a repeat of that this game.
Well, will be interesting. Center control? We said that it is quite important, and it looks a bit better for the Finns. Something I really want to mention, MBL and Nikov. It could have been an easy team war for them. They didn't get that. I think on a different game, I could have said, okay, it happens, bad communication. But honestly, with Portuguese, you can see where your teammate is and what your teammate scouted. So you have to be able to finish a team war here.
Yeah, that's kind of inexcusable. It's literally like a house. Can you not build a house? But regardless, I don't think it's going to be too big of a deal. And now Nikov, he's going to be coming out on the water. Still has quite a few fishing ships, and his war galleys, of course, will have 149 HP, and we'll actually get to see if that's going to make a significant difference. Don't get to see Portuguese too often.
Oh, sadly, they're such a strong civilization. We will see how it plays out. War galley here now at the top helping out. The Max is completely given up water. He's transitioning into something on land. It looks like maybe... Well, what could that be? Monk Siege Workshop aggression against a Vikings player who reaches Castle Age roughly with him.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what the plan is. Does he have any stone? Maybe for like a castle drop? No.
I think it will be Monk Siege.
Yeah, Monk Siege seems like the name of the game. Of course, Portuguese do have the gold discount for all of their units, meaning their monks are actually only 85 gold. Mangonel's a little bit cheaper as far as that goes as well. So it's not, I think, that bad of an idea, especially if you know that you're losing the water.
Oh, MBL, he is under a lot of pressure. Look at that side. He's re-walling over and over again. For now, it is walled, so good job here. Oh, that's a tricky one. He is now going on to a lot of spearmen. No pikeman upgrade, though. More aggression. Release is going for Monk Siege aggression as well. It looks like Finns are just deciding, okay, we need to do damage on land now because water is completely lost. Eco should be so much better here for AM. Domi has a very small timing window to do damage.
Yeah, certainly. And yeah, remember, it's all down to this game. Winner of this moves on. The loser is really going to be starting to fall behind in the overall points. So this is, I think, a really important game for both of these teams to win. And right now, AM looking to be in a really nice position. Veles just not able to break into MBL's base just yet. Of course, it's a really tricky defense for him, but so far MBL has pulled it off. I say that, though, and he's about to lose a mining camp.
Oh, he's repairing like a madman. It went down to 40 HP there. Mangonel is now coming over. Could get some of those villagers. First shot coming in. 2 losses here. But he already prepared quite a nice amount of pikemen and is now going for the monastery. I think MBL, he did hold maybe for long enough.
Maybe. I mean, saying he held is kind of weird considering he lost like 5 or 6 villagers. Also, there's apparently a hole, because I definitely saw a knight run to the left side of that main goal. So we see MBL walling behind it. Mangonel will be picked off actually by Nikov's knights, and he has quite a few monks over here.
Oh, it looked weird. I tried to check it. Couldn't really see those, but yeah, Nikov, that should be a pretty solid defense. But at the same time, to go against Leary, that's only 1 house left. Let's take a look. Leary, 80 HP here, and they are in. All the knights could come over. AM, they are feeling the heat.
Yeah, certainly. Well, Bless trying to come over with his knights as well, like you mentioned, but nice little last-minute repairs there for Lear. He's just trying to hang on. He is on 3 TCs. He's just playing this total like boom style. Then, you know, on top of that, he has 9 fishing ships, 19 fishing ships for Nikov. His food economy is insane right now. And yeah, now it's just down to can AM hang on? And right now, they are.
Oh man, that was so clutch on both sides. Leary, how that was like 80 HP on that stone gate as well. So many knights knocking at the door, and he, yeah, was just able to hold it. Lost some villagers, so did MBL earlier. Yeah, both not with the greatest numbers, but Fish is carrying them, and I feel Nikov should be in a great spot to dominate this game from here.
Oh yeah, certainly. And not Castle Town Center denied for Rubenstock, trying to get a TC in the middle of the map, take that map control, take all of those juicy zebra as Mongols, but just 1 war galley from Leary, putting the big no on that one. And right now it looks like AM starting to push back Finland, and I'm really liking their position right now. What is that, almost 1,000 average score ahead? This is looking really bad for Team Finland.
Oh boy, and that's like winning water, having the better eco, taking cost-efficient fights on land now here as well. Those pikemen are doing quite a nice job. So many monks are coming over, and now the war galley helping out on water as well. This is looking incredibly good for AM.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think Nikov especially playing super well this game. And yeah, Leary hanging on just barely. And I don't really know what the game plan should be here for Suomi. Like, you don't have water, you have 9 total military, 10. Like, what do you even do here? You have nothing going for you.
Sling on to condos for Willis? Question mark? I'm not sure, and now my game is paused.
Oh boy.
And
Billy,
it looks like for you as well. It's continuing for you?
I'm at 28-11.
Oh boy.
Am I past you?
Yeah. I will reload. No,
Okay.
you go for single cast.
I think you're on the wrong patch, Nlee. It's fine.
Yeah.
If you crash as well, Onlu, I got it. So it's good.
Okay. Well, I'll take my turn at solo casting. So now we have players starting to click up to the Imperial Age. Veles will be our first player up. He is the Italians. He does have that bit of a cheaper age up, but Imperial Age into what is, I think, the question of the day. He only has 7 military, and right now, other than a few monks failing to get some Wololos, it's going to be pretty tough here for Team Suomi to get some damage done. So Leary seems to be pretty comfortable defensively. Yeah, there are some monks here from the max, but without a ton of siege to break through these stone walls, I don't really see him getting in it before Leary can just totally let his superior economy manifest itself. He has all of these war galleys in the middle of the map, and how can Suomi even hope to cross? I mean, Bless starting to send in some light cav, but I mean, if your big grand Imperial Age play is a lot of light cav, doesn't seem to be terribly impressive. So I would like to see Leary possibly switch into some longboats. They are, I think, just better than war galleys, and sometimes people forget to make them when they're playing Vikings. But we'll have to see how that works out. Nikov, true to form, not getting wheelbarrow before the 25-minute mark. And we're seeing a ton of docks for him in the middle of the match, going now for the caravels. An interesting unit. It does fire a scorpion-like projectile that passes through units. Light Cav from Bless will at least clean up most of the monks, if not all of them. Yeah, we'll get all of them. But it's sort of at the point when the monks aren't the most crucial part of Nikov's army. Maybe try and get all of the relics that exist here in the center of the map. Can give you a nice little gold boost. But right now, it's going to be focusing on those water units for Nikov.
Okay, try to stay in sync and mention the times over and over again. And then we are in time.
I meant
to
32 exactly. So Valesc is going to be trying to make those condos, but a couple patches ago they removed the Pierce armor from condos. So that's going to be a lot of condos. They really, they need to play leapfrog or whatever to get across the middle of the map without taking a ton of damage from all of these ships. Max actually got a conversion on one of the mangonels of Leary, but still Leary hanging on almost in the Imperial Age. And I wonder if Viking condos could be an option, because they are, I think, one of the best condos in the game. So at around 33-20, got another big fight unfolding here in the middle of the map. Leary contributing with some war galleys, but really it's Nikov's fleet. 40 military for him, largest in the game, and that is a lot of elite caravels now. Due to the Portuguese HP bonus, they have the same HP as a galleon. Now even longboats coming in from Leary. I mean, this just seems like a clash of land units versus naval units, and so long as the naval units can attack the land units, they're just going to be way better than almost every single land unit in the game, pop for pop, even a fortified wall from Leary, just to keep further buying time. I think it will work.
Oh yeah, he's doing such a good job there. I'm now at 35-20, so joining you here, and the Max, he is trying to push in. Fortified wall doing a great job. Condo's just waiting to stream in, but beautiful usage of the water control here. Leary and Nikov just zoning out so many units before they can really get over to the other side.
My game ended.
Oh man, okay, then I will take it over at 35 minutes here. Let me take a look. Zach should be intact with me, and well, we have a great technical day for us, but luckily Mr. Zach for the rescue. So we are calling it Twitch watching, not Twitch listening. So most important thing is here for sure. Onager attack finally, and now they can chop over the wood here. Condos can finally stream in, and Leary at the moment has no preparation to defend that off. Or do we see more gates? No, finally they are in. Finally the timing here. Overall population looks somewhat even if we discount what Nikov had, but well, counting him out makes very little sense because he has so many caravels, he has cavaliers, and he can just go over for so many raids. But the Max now with the landing here prepares some villagers at this side. Everyone obviously here in Imperial Age. What can we see at the moment? More pushes against Leary, and he isn't holding too well. Tried to get onto some barracks here in the back, but those got all denied. Condos, well, they are doing quite some. Oh, beautiful stuff. Nikov now coming over, and this will be a big attack. The Maxi needs to go for massive amount of conversions. Won't really happen, and all the monks at the front are dying here. The Max completely cleared up. Same time, Roomstock now going for the elite mango die, so it seems like I'm a bit ahead. I will pause a bit. Now we can see. Okay, I'm at 42.
I'm back in the game, but on super speed.
Great stuff, guys. Oh boy. Spoilers! Guys, I could even spoil you that the series will end 2-1 for one team. Okay, Elite Mango Dice now for Roomstock. Maybe they can still make it happen. Score is somewhat close. AM, yeah, I love the water control. Let's take a look at the Mango Dice of Roomstock here. They need to go away. Longboats and Caravels, they are just so good at controlling all this center area. And now the forward is completely smashed off. Yeah, some condos are still around trying to do some damage. At the moment it feels... Can they really get the damage done? The max landing completely shut down. 39, good for me. And we have more bomber towers for MBL. Now trying to defend at his side. Cannon guns is something I want to see. And oh, look at the north, guys. We have some condos here from the Vikings, and Onlu mentioned it before. From the Vikings, they get extra HP, so super strong here for sure. And there's nothing really around to defend that. Some condos here at the front that are fighting off the army of Nikov, who is now retreating, wants to fight with some Galleon support as well, is reinforcing all that area. Condos spotted now at the top, not really. Well, market or trade cards went down, so they should know about it. But what can they really do? Not really getting onto the masses. What are the Mango Dice doing? Well, they are trying to defend against MBL here at the front, who is trying to leapfrog himself forward with some more bomber towers. Roomstock, he needs to go to the top, he needs to defend, score. It feels like it's a bit better for the Finns, simply because they lost the water and are pretty close. So overall, let's take a look. So, populations, somewhat even. This is a good game that it's tough to call. Nice quick walls at the top as well, shutting out those 97 HP condos, but transporter around the corner. Let's see what they can do. The water control is just so deadly. Look at all those elite caravels. What I'm really missing are elite cannon guns, and I'm also missing Mr. Onlu. How's it looking?
Well, I'm just gonna totally blame Robo for giving me incorrect information. Like, I updated to 5.7.4, but apparently that doesn't work.
Yeah,
so
you
ahead.
need to also load the user patch 1.5 alpha.
Also did that.
Oh, then you did everything right, and it's only right to blame Robo. Can't be your fault. Okay, now we see more Mango Dice here at the top, defending against all those Cavalier raids, but cannot really intercept those villagers from getting the bomber towers up. Trade is going over there, so this will get tricky. The raid of Leary at the top coming around the corner. Do we see any more raids at the moment? Not really. Some more attacks of Rubenstock. Some goes there with Rams. Mango Dice, can they find some openings? I don't really see a lot of trade from the AM players. Look at that. Overall trade card amount at 6 at the moment. Compare that to the 25. A bit of a better setup, and they already lost some for the Finnish guys. Halberdier attack now for the max. Halberdier has actually performed pretty well against Ship, as we saw last weekend on, well, some of those shallow maps at the King of the Hippo. But let's focus on this one. So, trade needs to start. Yeah, map control is still pretty nice, and all those caravels, they can never really engage this. The Finns need to find angles that is not around the water, but this map is just 70% water, what it feels like. So AM, by picking 3 water civilizations, put themselves in the nice spot. The nice boom for Nikov there as well. And now elite caravels. How can you fight those? I have no idea how this could be ever possible. It has to be with mass siege.
They're pretty tricky. It's like in mass in the late game, I feel like you really want a ton of fast fire ships, I think, because elite caravels deal less bonus damage against ships than galleons. So it means that the extra pierce armor from the fire ships actually plays a pretty big role. But I'm not quite caught up yet, so I'm not sure if we're going to be able to see that from Team Suomi.
The problem with fast fire ship on this map is that it's kind of like small canals going everywhere here. So they stack up so much more. You cannot go for the big wraparound with all those fast fire ship. and therefore the effectiveness of caravels actually increased quite a bit. Caravels on this scenario even counter longboats quite heavily because they just fight off those stacked units so nicely. Roomstock still fighting here with his mango dice, trying to make something happen. I still hear a lot of production of more ship. MBL's push towards the trade somewhat stopped though, but he is trying to find another angle. It's just getting tricky. Suomi, they're getting pushed everywhere. Remember guys, whoever loses this game is out of this, well, 3-3 event of the ECL. 1 of 14 people want to get points, and both AM and Suomi on paper probably underperforming, so they need to fight off, but they are also fighting against the winner of, I believe, Heresy against Secret after that, so quite a tough task potentially after that, but still getting money, getting some puntos on their standings would be so lovely for them. Watch the army compositions at the moment. We see caravels and cavaliers from Leary. On the other side, MBL, well, skirmisher and bomber tower. Well, something what we expected, right? And on the top, we have longboats fighting off against those fast fire ships, and longboats somewhat of the counter. Elite longbow only coming in now. That's a bit late, but still somewhat reasonable, I'd say. And you see those fast fire ships, they are still doing a lot of damage. But Leary should be able to micro this off. MBL only now coming with caravans. Nikov going for arquebus. Maybe we can see some bombard towers there as well. And look at the trade just dying over and over again into Nikov. That's because the trade is just going in such a small area. Ugly spot. Roomstock with a nice push here in the center, trying to get some more of those bomber towers down, and great, still not great for either of the teams, but Cannon Gains from Leary, he will just raid so much more, and the max, that's just impossible to defend. At the moment, it feels like Roomstock with his mango dice is the only guy kind of keeping the dreams alive here.
I think I got everything sorted out, but I'm at around 15 minutes game time, so...
Oh, okay,
Oh,
I'm
boy.
at 50 minutes. So, well, let's talk about in another 5 game time maybe. Longboats now at the top coming around, and this just looks pretty good. Population-wise, still okay-ish, I'd say. A small advantage for the AM guys. But that's also not super efficient, like light calves, some skirmishes from earlier. Well, some condos. Let's take a look. Do we have more engagements from Leary? At the moment, his cannon guns just doing an incredible job. Even cannon guns from both sides, so kind of sandwiching here the max, who is only at pop 150 out of pop 170. I see an axe in the center. That's Nikov leapfrogging forward. Bomber tower support of MBL. How is his stone looking at the moment? He's at 300 stone. The price is at 159, so people even sold stone here. Something we don't see too often in late game scenarios. Trying to go for the sneak here at the top was MBL, but instantly scouted by Belize. Nice reaction there. Trade is getting raided again. Trade cut him out. Still the Finns ahead, but where are they advancing? It has to be one big Roomstock attack. That's kind of the only option. But MBL is going for the defense. He has some skirmishes to fight off against the elite mango dice, and only 3 rams as well. If he had like 15 rams, I could see one big go working, but with this amount of rams, that's simply not enough. That's not enough. Ferraris coming to the front here. Where are the boats on the land? That's a specialty of this map. Dip can pass this shallow area. Now the go at the top here from the Max and Roomstock. Let's take a look what the caravels can do. We see some onagers coming around. The Max is trying to get some good hits off. Some rams doing quite a nice job getting those bomber cannons or bomber towers down. At the same time, we have MBL moving forward, quite a nice job. Caravels just doing a beautiful job, and that's one of the reasons why you wanted to have Portuguese here. MBL now going to try to defend off the go of Roomstock here. Nice quick wall, and all those elite mango guys, they wanted to go into the trade. Won't really happen. Let's take a look, and the quick wall is in time. We'll get 1, 2, trade cards, but needs to go back, and that was pretty costly. Roomstock, he does not have a lot of those goals in himself here. At least that's what I'm thinking. More goals here in the center. That's all the traps going down of Elise as well. And that's one castle that is protecting quite a bit. Longboats at the top fighting off. Vilise going for mass galleons. Leary with a beautiful micro at the top. It's fighting all over the map, and that's why this map is so nice, so loved. Rift Island, yeah, the map that won the map contest here, and we can see why, because it can deliver incredible games. We have seen an endless game number 1, 45-minute game number 2, and this one is promising to go over the 1 hour mark as well. I'm at 55 minutes 35 seconds at the moment, and MBL moving in with an army that isn't too strong here. Oh, big sandwich over at the left-hand side. Oh, what is this? How is Liriplat suddenly facing army at the left-hand side of his? That's quite surprising to me. Elise losing a lot. The max prop 120, 150 for Elise. Roomstock still playing his heart out. Pop 200 there. All the other AM guys basically pop limit, and look at the main base of Elise here. No answer to that push. MBL is pushing in, and he is pushing in nicely. No chance to really cut the reinforcement of Caravel, still controlling all the land. Bombard towers going forward. Bombard cannons being the killers here as well. Some stables. Now we see villagers move forward by Roomstock. Wanted to go for some siege workshops, I believe. Why is he not sending over more stuff? Elite Mango Dice now being sent to the top. This is still a very tricky phase though, and so many Mango Dice died over here at the South Nikov. He's just in full control of this map and is just abusing the factor of how this map is shaped and how mobile, how much damage he can do. He's abusing that just beautifully. Elite Mango Dice now around though. Bombard cannon of the max helping out. What can he really do? Sniping some bombard cannons himself. Quite a nice job. That's a lot of lost resources, and they aren't really climbing in numbers here either. Next sneaky attack of Leary, and he is so close to attacking those markets again. Maybe elite cannon galleons now can take down this gate at the very north, and then the next go with condos could do something. Also, Leary advancing on water can't be something that the Finns can be super happy about. Mango Dice again being lost here. Wood count overall, I'm not sure how it looks over there. Well, we still have some wood left, but that's not a lot of wood control. That's not a lot of wood control. And now the condo go at the top here. Elite cannon guns helping out, and that's just like, and how many fronts are we attacking? The center MBL, at the top it is Leary. In the south we still have some goals of Nikov, who's now mixing in some heavy demos even. Continuing to do something with his bombard cannons as well. There's just so many fires that need to turn out. Leary with another landing. I'm at 59 minutes, 50 seconds here.
I'm only 20 minutes behind.
What? Elite Mango Dice of Roomstock. He is trying to defend here. Bombard cannons of MBL going down there. How is the stone price at the moment? 182. So they bought more and more. Cannon guns from the Portuguese could be something pretty nice as well. We see mass access here. They opened that area to free up the trade, but that also means they are opening that area for potential Mango Dice raids, trying to get some more walls up, but those aren't too efficient. Mango Dice can still go in. We could still see some more landings. And finally, the go with traps against Roomstock. And if he loses his castles, he only is at 4 at the moment. This will get pretty tough to keep his Elite Mango Dice numbers high enough. Markets still, yeah, still there. Max is holding this, but now the galleons of Leary doing quite some nice job sniping some more of those straight cut. This is another ridiculous game, and guys, you can really see both teams, they know what's on the line. This is event number 4 of this 1 year long Microsoft sponsored tournament, and we've seen how players are taking this tournament seriously. They want to, yeah, get the legacy rolling by winning this big Microsoft tournament in years that they're squandering. 5-digit tier land finals in the end. At the moment, it is looking good for Team SY, even advancing today, and also for Team Secret. Everyone wants to go there. Another go in the center again, and all those bombard cannons. How can you really snipe those? That's not really something you can run into with all those manga dice, snipe those bombard cannons and go back. They're just losing more and more land. Population, not really super high for the AEM guys though. Trade is now looking better for them. 30, 25 and 42 on the other side. Similar numbers. The pressure kind of stopped though. The Finns, they are just playing an incredible game here as well. Lesser team needed to GG this game like 20 minutes ago. AM is putting the pressure on at every single point, but the Finns, again, they just refuse to die. Very similar to game number 1. The problem is there are so many things not going right for them. Border control, number 1. Just openness of trade, number 2. And maybe even, well, civilizations. Well, only when it comes to ship. I think Mango Dice could just be good. Castle amount down to 2 though. Relics, we have 4 for Nikov, 2 for Rubenstock at the moment. It is pretty brutally in favor of our purple player. Now moving forward with those bombard cannons through the middle. First bomber cannon going down against the trap shot. Getting one gate down as well. And now let's take a look. We saw earlier Nikov already got Arquebus, and that will be tricky. All those caravels around, and that's the spot where MBL now needs to move in, and he needs to go with some villagers and build some bombard towers here again. How will those trade cards survive here? Rubenstock still defending the south with all his mango dice. He is playing an incredible game as well. It's really tough to really point anywhere and say this guy has played poorly at this situation. It's just incredibly tough to play this to perfection. Oof, guys, I'm losing my voice, but I see another go of Rubenstock, so I need to keep the hype up for sure, because obviously this could be a game changer, but instantly spotted by the AM guys. They're reacting this instantly. Do we see some quick what's not really happening? Some idea villagers here of MBL goes for some weird houses, won't really do too much, but he just needed to pass like 3, 4, 5 bomber towers. Lost so many mango dice and is now running into a handful of skirmishers, some hussars as well, more defensive bomber towers, and that just lost so much of efficiency. All those mango dice, they could have been like 10, 15 more trying to go for the raid. That will be some dead trade cards for sure. At the same time, we have seen some raids here trying to kill all the bomber cannons. You see all the condos of the max dying there as well. Let's go back to the elite mango dice here of Rubenstock on the hill though, and that's a lot of dead trade cards. Could that maybe be the game changer? Overall trade card amount now plummeting down to roughly 70, which is a good number for one player, but not for a whole team in this scenario. Coinage now for Rubenstock. He knows I need to carry my team. Pop 180 for him. Now trying to split off his mango dice. Let's take a look. More Cavaliers are coming over. At the same time, the push in the north. Still nice movement here, and that's just such a deadly position. Bombard cannons, bomber towers, so many caravels in the back. That's just incredible. Like, how can you break this? It has to be mass traps, right? Maybe with some cannon galleons yourself. That seems to be the answer here of the max, but losing his cannon galleons instantly, tough situation for him for sure. Elite mango dice, they continue to do the damage. Traps even coming over and trying to go for some snipes, and they even get a snipe. Finally, the elite the skirmishers are coming around. They will clear this up, but that was heavy losses prior to that.
Nilly, what time are you at?
I'm at 1 hour, 9 minutes, 30 seconds.
I am at about 105.
Oh boy! So your PC isn't really going up to full speed either. Condoteros now coming over left-hand side go, but they will all vanish. Let's go into the point of view of the max. What can they really do? trying to come over here. They will perform reasonably well if we get into some gunpowder units. But against mass caravels, that's basically a scorpion on a ship. That's alone sounds like a ridiculous idea. And you see, they aren't doing anything. They're just going in line formation and running into their death. Bombard towers, yeah, they're under some pressure. We see a lot of bombard cannons from Italians and Portuguese, but now also Nikov moving forward, getting some damage done. Trade, it is so exposed. This game could end any second, but it could also be just shut down, this aggression. And at the moment, I'm hyping how incredibly well AM is doing on water, but at the moment, they're also blocking like 150 pop. If we look at this, that's maybe a bit too many Carol. That's maybe a bit too many galleons and longboats on the water. Because at the moment, 40, 50 more land units could just end the game. They are basically in the trade. They just are missing the killing units. At the same time, though, Roomstock is losing his second to last castle. And then a Mongol player without Mango Dice. Is that really a Mongol player?
Probably a dead
Maybe
one.
go for a dead one. A dead one, probably. This other castle is quite far back. And we see Roomstock. He is tacking into heavy CA now. Maybe his last option. And he prepared quite a bit of rams. And they are killing all the bomber towers. Did kill all the bomber cannons as well. They continue to hold on. The Finns, they are crazy. You can't kill the Finns here, as it seems.
No,
Are they trying to win another wood game?
Maybe, but they don't have, I think, control over enough wood because they have literally no map control, right? I mean, it's going to be pretty tricky for them, I think, but it's just the fact that there's water on this map, I feel like is just such a huge difference maker if we compare it to game number 1, where, you know, there wasn't that sort of aspect in which the Finns were also losing.
This is just a ridiculous game. Yeah, probably the factor. Yeah, they have a lot of wood, but at the moment, all the wood is kind of controlled still by our Portuguese player from AM. All the ship here, Roomstock is trying to take this over again. Don't you feel like some more land units could be so much better for our AM team?
Yeah, I'm definitely thinking that because, yeah, the water units are great. I mean, they've pushed Suomi into this tiny little section of the map where they're just being bombarded on all sides, but there's nothing to actually, like, truly, like, get through all the infrastructure, if that makes sense, where there isn't a unit just, like, to level all of the production facilities and kill all the villagers. There isn't anything, like you're saying, to get that killing blow through, and really, we just have so much time being bought, but hey, the game's over.
Oh, well, then you're a bit faster than me and Black. I'm at... Oh, but it happens. And, well, this is just an incredible game. We have Pop 80 for Belize here. It just is pretty tricky for him. And, yeah, just lost so much on water. No real wood control for him. DA, well, only now the heavy CA tech, but that's still so much pressure. And, well, what can we see? No more goals at the very top, but all those longboats are doing just so much damage from a distance. Trade cards just running over each other here, and the trade line not super long either. This is just such a tricky game, and indeed I have the GG on my scoreboard here as well. AM will take it, and oh boy, what a series. How were we able to witness this incredible game number 1, kind of one-sided intense game number 2, and another epic game number 3.
Wow, for a best of 3, like, I don't know what more you could ask for. Like, this series had just about everything. Game number 2 was a little bit one-sided, but I still think it was entertaining and enjoyable. And of course, game number 1, 2 hours long almost. This is an hour and 15 minutes on a crazy map. Had see caravels for the first time, I think, like, really shine as a unit. And wow, this series was incredible. That was some sick hype solo casting, Nilly. You a real trooper there.
I slept 1 hour this night, so yeah, I was in my zone.
Oh, man, it's okay because it's only another best of 3.
Oh, yes. Okay, let's take a look into the achievements. Zach is already going over it. Nikov, incredible KD there. Release on the water fights. What can you really do? You are fighting the Italians against